I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News. President Biden now plans a meeting tomorrow with Democratic governors after last week's debate performance heightened concerns about his age and ability to serve another term. A White House official just confirming tomorrow's meeting, which many governors might attend remotely. There may also be more of an effort to reassure voters. Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House.
There are reportedly discussions happening now about restoring confidence in the president by having him do some of the things that he has shunned for a long time, like a sit-down interview or press conference. He could come to the Brady briefing room and take our questions anytime he wants, but also next week is the NATO summit, and traditionally that's when presidents hold hour-long solo pressers. We don't have any word yet from the White House on whether that is in the works.
White House Press Secretary Karine Jean-Pierre holds her first briefing since the debate this afternoon. Meantime, a Democratic lawmaker is now publicly calling for the president to step aside in this year's race. Texas Congressman Lloyd Doggett just releasing a statement saying the president should make the, quote, painful and difficult decision to withdraw. Former President Trump wants his sentencing in the New York hush money case delayed as his defense lawyers argue the convictions should be overturned in part over yesterday's Supreme Court ruling on presidential immunity. The Manhattan DA's office telling the judge they're open to a 2-week delay of the sentencing scheduled for next Thursday. Hurricane Beryl, the earliest Category 5 storm on record in the Atlantic, churning its way through the Caribbean.
The powerful storm ran over the Lesser Antilles on Monday night and will now pass near or over Jamaica on Wednesday. The storm is expected to slightly weaken as it moves east across the Caribbean towards Jamaica before ultimately approaching the Yucatan Peninsula of Mexico on Friday.
Fox meteorologist Adam Klotz, multiple deaths reported in Beryl's wake, including in Grenada, where the prime minister calls the likelihood of more deaths a grim reality as they assess damage. America is listening to Fox News.
When life spells heartburn, how do you spell relief? R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
What about when life spells fried chicken?
R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Fourth cup of coffee?
Still R-O-L-A-I-D-S.
Extra cheesy pizza?
Rolaids always spells relief. Rolaids' powerful dual-active formula begins neutralizing acid on contact to fight your heartburn fast. So, when life spells heartburn, Rolaids spells relief. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Summertime in St. Louis is back. Sunshine. It's moderate humidity going through the afternoon. 94 degrees for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Maybe a spot thunderstorm after midnight. 76. Wednesday, partly sunny, hot and humid with scattered showers and thunderstorms around. Some could be on the strong side. 94. It's going to feel hotter than that, though, on Wednesday with the humidity. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Liberal mega donors are always looking for new rhinos to do their bidding. And with Adam Schnelting, they found their new star. Adam Schnelting has already backed their radical plan to defund our police. And he skipped countless important conservative votes. Skipped a vote to protect kids from sexually explicit materials in school. And skipped a vote to protect churches from junk lawsuits. It's no wonder Adam Schnelting is bankrolled by Hillary Clinton, Barack Obama, and Joe Biden's top funders. Bill Cristofanelli is the only leader we can trust to protect our conservative priorities. When radicals tried to defund the police, Bill Cristofanelli passed record funding from Missouri's law enforcement. When Joe Biden left our southern border wide open, conservative Bill Cristofanelli banned sanctuary cities and voted to send Missouri National Guard troops to secure the border. Vote Bill Cristofanelli, the proven conservative, for state senate.
Gladius PAC is responsible for the content of this advertising, paid for by Gladius PAC, and is not authorized by any candidate or candidates committee.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-699-1059. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-699-1059. That's 800-699-1059. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
If you need a new garage door, this could be your lucky day. Entries are now open for the $5,000 sweepstakes at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. The winner will be chosen at random to receive $5,000 towards new garage doors, openers, or front entry doors of their choice. Deadline to enter is the end of the month to win the $5,000 sweepstakes with Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Enter now at overheaddoorsstlouis.com. You can't win if you don't enter at overheaddoorsstlouis.com.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Well, these are people, several of them, who are very close to President Biden, who love him, have supported him, have been among them are some people who have raised a lot of money for him. And they are adamant that what we saw the other night, the Joe Biden we saw, is not a one-off, that there have been 15, 20 occasions in the last year and a half when the president has appeared somewhat as he did in that horror show.
So there's Carl Bernstein, and he was sitting there on, I believe it was CNN, talking about what he has heard about Joe Biden leading up to the debate last Thursday. There is a ton of conversation swirling around 25th Amendment, replacing Joe Biden on the ballot, replacing Joe Biden in the White House right now. There are a lot of questions that go into this very moment in time, and the debate was a very consequential portion of this equation. Lots of people are discussing it more openly than they were before, but I continue to ask, who's surprised? Who saw on Thursday Joe Biden shuffle out to the podium, stare blankly into Lord knows where, gaping mouth, mumbling tone, thought processes that couldn't get from point A to point B with each question he was asked? I mean, it was sad. Honestly, it was a sad thing to experience. Is this the first time that President Biden has exhibited these types of behaviors? Let's hear more from Carl.
But here we see tonight, as these people say, President Biden at his absolute best, and yet these people who have supported him, loved him, campaigned for him, see him often, say that in the last 6 months particularly, there has been a marked incidence of cognitive decline.
You know, it aggravates me about these points that are being made right now about Joe Biden. This idea that somehow, some might say, the idea that Joe Biden is all of the sudden not coherent, not capable of being coherent in his conversations. If you noticed that before, you were insulted, as if you were some sort of nefarious actor in the whole situation that only cares about politics, trying to make stuff up about
the president of the United States. I mean, it came from the White House.
Ironically, several recent cheap fakes actually attack the president for thanking troops. For thanking troops. That is what they're attacking the president for. Both in Normandy, this happened, and again in Italy. And I think that it tells you everything that we need to know about how desperate Republicans are here. And instead of talking about the president's performance in office, and what I mean by that is his legislative wins, what he's been able to do for the American people across the country, we're seeing these deep fakes, these manipulated videos. And it is, again, done in bad faith.
So you listen to Karine Jean-Pierre, who's the mouthpiece of the administration. Also, it's important that you catch something that she said there. I don't know if we've talked about it specifically here, but when she's talking about the success of his administration, she starts pointing to his legislative wins. By all means, the leader of the party should be the president of the United States and should be pushing an agenda through Congress. But in large part, that's a victory for Congress that Joe Biden ends up signing in the end. Has he gotten all the wins that he wanted to? He had Democrat control at each level for 2 years. Did he do what he needed to do during those 2 years? He didn't. If he did, he wouldn't need 4 more years. But we were told that if you see these videos and you have had a question about Joe Biden's mental acuity, his physical fitness, his ability to meet the expectations of the job, or the most demanding job on the planet, that you were taking part in deceit for people who want to bring this good man, this president, down. Let's go back to Carl Bernstein.
The debate prep was supervised by Ron Klain, who has been with President Biden for many years. And people I've talked to have all been to Ron Klain in the last year to say, we have a problem. We have a problem such as we saw the other night, that there have been numerous instances where the president has lost his train of thought, can't pick it up again. There was a fundraiser at which he started at the podium, and then he became very stiff, according to the people there, as if it were almost a kind of rigor mortis.
This was reported allegedly in June of 2020.
This was this was a year ago almost exactly, at the old Four Seasons restaurant on Park Avenue. And he became very stiff, and a chair had to be brought for him to do the latter part of the event.
He said that was a year ago. He said that took place a year ago. And suggestions that Joe Biden isn't mentally fit to do the job have been met by the administration with attacks on the people making that assertion. This is why I don't want to, I was going to say I don't want you to. You can do whatever you want. This is why I don't want to get my eye off the ball here. If the assertion that Joe Biden hasn't been mentally fit for a long time, and I think that's what a lot of people are saying. I don't think very many people are looking at Thursday going, wow, this just happened. This just in. I think people know, and Thursday made it so that you couldn't hide it anymore. If we're going to accept the premise or entertain the premise that Joe Biden is not fit to do the job, the next obvious question is, who is doing the job? Who's the person who's calling the shots? Reports exist that he works from 10 a.m. to 4 p.m. Who's working 4 p.m. to 10 a.m.? And during that 10 to 4, if that's all that he can muster, who's guiding his hand and his decision-making along the way without his full cognitive presence, the discernment, the key point here, who America elected to do that job? We don't know. But if you were going to accept or simply entertain the idea that Joe Biden is a figurehead in the presidency and that there is a broader group of people calling the shots through the figurehead of Joe Biden, then you need to understand that the person to beat in November is not Joe Biden. It's the faceless, nameless people who've been calling the shots while deceiving you in order to retain power. You got to think about that for a second. I mean, we are in a place right now. I'm very excited to bring Dr. Marc Siegel back onto the Annie Fry Show in about 10 minutes from now. He's a Fox News medical correspondent, a clinical professor of medicine, and a practicing internist as well. Marc Siegel is a trusted voice with Fox, and we're grateful that he's giving us some time today. I'm going to ask him about the cognitive abilities of Joe Biden. Initially, we booked him because I wanted to talk to him about the usage of cell phones and constant internet access for children. And we're going to talk to him about that, but I can't pass up the opportunity to ask him about Joe Biden in this moment. How is it that Joe Biden could make it this far? It's because they've been able to deceive you. They've worked so hard to deceive you. Annie, how many people would have to be in? How many people would have to be in on it? You got to step back for a second and think about it. How many people are so committed, in my mind, to defeating Donald Trump? Here we go, right back to Donald Trump. Of course it comes back to Donald Trump. How many people were willing to set aside some discernment, some moral fortitude for the greater good, which in their mind is defeating Donald Trump at all costs? They believe Donald Trump to be an evil, dangerous man. And if that is your foundational understanding, you're going to likely shift what you're willing to do to, I don't know how you would say it, save democracy. What would they be willing to do to ensure that Donald Trump will never see the presidency again? And I think that we're looking at it. Joe Biden, for whatever particular reason, the most palatable person who they could put up against Donald Trump in 2020, I truly believe that Joe Biden's cognitive abilities were diminished then, and that he's the one who would go along with this coalition type style of leadership in Washington, D.C. Why did everybody step out at the same time of that primary? Joe Biden wasn't winning anything. He was actually kind of getting his butt kicked. Kamala Harris was calling him a racist on the primary debate stage. People were not interested in 4 more years of what we've already had. People were not interested. I mean, think about who we're talking about. We're talking about the political party who determined that they are going to have a woman of color be the vice presidential candidate on that ticket, and they went with the oldest, whitest, most establishment government dude they could find to be the top of the ticket. How do you sell that? Cory Booker was on that stage. Cory Booker is a passionate guy who I can only assume that if I were of the leftist, liberal, progressive mind, he would get me all jazzed up. I'm not, so I am not my guy. But I think he's genuine. I think he cares about what he's trying to do. I just think he's wrong in position. How does the party that determines that the vice presidential candidate will be of 2 demographics before they determine anything else put the oldest, whitest guy at the top of the ticket, who everybody can understand? In the time of COVID going after people exactly like Joe Biden, the worst, the hardest. Of course, they believed in COVID to be that way. Why would they pick Joe Biden? Why did everybody step down at the same time to anoint him? Why did they go to, what was it, South Carolina and Clyburn to, was that who it was? To crown him as the nominee before he'd won a primary? Well, you got to ask yourself, who's really calling the shots right now? Because I don't think it's Joe Biden, at least not from 4 to 10. You don't have to, you can't just think, oh, they'll replace Joe Biden. It'll be in such disarray. I mean, if they do go to replace Joe Biden, they are going to have to reconcile some very, very divided wings of the left Democrat progressive part of the party. Will they come together? Again, the foundational element here that precludes everything is Donald Trump is an evil, dangerous man and a threat to democracy. That's why they keep saying it over. I mean, I'm not making that up. Over and over and over again. Just ask them who the threat to democracy is. It's like the unifying chant of the left to make sure that everybody remembers what the ultimate focus is at the end of the day. Donald Trump is an evil, dangerous man and must be stopped at all costs. Take note of every single media person who looked you square in the eyes and lied to you and deceived you intentionally for a reason that they're telling you, listen, you don't know what we know. You're going to know what we want you to know, and you're just going to have to trust us that this is what is best for America. That's upside down, folks. That's an upside down way of being an American, of exercising and flexing your First Amendment rights, your free press. That free press is there to advocate for you, to expose truth, and to make sure that you, the American voting, tax-paying citizen, have the truth so that you can decide what is best for the country. The media does not trust you to make the right decision, so they deceive you. And they have been doing so for years. And they bring in their fancy, super wealthy people who have no idea what it's like to look at their cart at the end of the shopping trip and have to put some things back on the shelves. They don't know what that's like. They're never going to know what that's like because they're all in on the deal. They deceive you to keep the status quo. And the status quo's name right now is Joe Biden. And this ruse isn't going to last another 126 days. Not in my opinion. So what happens next? Joe Biden is not the person who we need to focus on this November. It's the whole apparatus, the deceitful apparatus that has been set up to lie to you to make sure that they can keep power. When we come back, Dr. Marc Siegel is going to be on the show. He's Fox News' medical correspondent, fresh off of Outnumbered earlier, just about an hour ago. Excited to have him on to talk about President Biden's mental acuity, but also I'm going to shift gears and talk to him a little bit about the effect of screens and internet usage and phones in the hands all the time of our youth. Dr. Marc Siegel on the Annie Frey Show and Will Sharf in studio in the 1 o'clock hour. We'll be right back.
This is the Annie Frey Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Stewart's American Mortgage, he's the big loan guy. You're looking to make sure that your economic situation is shaped up as well as it possibly can be with your home purchase, your pending home purchase. It's exciting. So is the bagel loan. Now, yes, we live in a time and an age where mortgages can be exciting. When you use the bagel loan, and you pay nothing in closing costs that other lenders out there are going to charge you for. Make sure that you connect with Stewie, 314-324-4440. That's the direct line to his cell phone in his pocket on his desk next to him right now. That's how you get a hold of him. And you can just say, Annie said something about a bagel loan. Can you help me? He will walk you through the options to make sure that you can get qualified for the bagel loan and then save all of the closing costs by keeping them in your pocket. No fees. It's amazing. It's real. He doesn't tuck them away. It's not a trick. I've done it myself twice with a bagel loan refinance, which you can ask him about as well. Reach out to him at 314-324-4440. 314-324-4440. Call my friend Stewie. He'll be happy to hear from you. Google the bagel loan, NMLS number 226715.
You want to retire soon, but everyone keeps telling you to wait until you're 65. After all, that's the age that you qualify for Medicare and you're close to full retirement age. I'm Marvin Mitchell, president of Compass Retirement Solutions. In my new book, Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65, I discuss proper planning to help make early retirement possible. When to take Social Security, what to do with your 401k, health care, how to maximize retirement income, and much more. Get a complimentary copy of Retire Early by calling 1-800-743-8510. That's 1-800-743-8510. Can you retire early? Call 1-800-743-8510 for your copy of Retire Early, The 9 Critical Decisions When Retiring Before 65.
Investments and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and Illinois. Compass Retirement Solutions is not affiliated with the U.S. government or any governmental agency.
For details and a list of all station contest rules, visit www.971talk.com/rules.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. Air Comfort Service is hiring licensed journeymen. Don't have a journeyman license? Air Comfort Service will help you get it. Get guaranteed hours year-round and more. Apply online at aircomfortservice.com.
We're here to help you get registered to vote, whether you're in Missouri or Illinois. Democracy 2024 on 97.1 FM Talk. If you need help getting registered, go to 971talk.com/vote.
I get up, I get down, and I'm jumping around, and the rumpus and ruckus are comfortable now. Been a hell of a ride, but I'm thinking it's time to grow. So I got an apartment across from the park, put quinoa in my fridge. Still
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
It's time to go.
Here we go.
Democratic officials have tried to spin this in many ways. They said President Biden just had a cold. They said it was just one off night, akin to when President Obama in 2012 was rusty and seemed a little huffy. But behind the scenes, make no mistake, most Democratic officials witnessed the same shocking spectacle that you did. The difficulty that the presumptive Democratic nominee, the current president of the United States, had just articulating his basic thoughts during the 90 minutes of the debate. The spinning is all very reminiscent of the George Orwell quote from the book 1984 that I invoked 5 years ago for a different situation and a different president. It's relevant again today. Quote, "The party told you to reject the evidence of your eyes and ears. It was their final, most essential command." We're not going to do that today on The Lead. We're going to talk honestly and frankly.
Jake Tapper there is telling you how it is, and he's pointing out the fact that there is a discernible pattern of Democratic officials trying to tell you, don't believe your eyes, pay no attention to the man behind the curtain. That's what we need to do. We need to know who the man behind the curtain is, or woman. You never know. Lots of people reacting to this moment this week. Yesterday, we asked you in the YouTube live chat poll about this week in politics, the last week. Grade it. Tell us what you think about it, because it's been a heck of a week, especially depending on who you ask, a fantastic week or maybe one of the worst. I want you to listen in here to Van Jones and then Scott Jennings on with Anderson Cooper on CNN.
Yeah, the more you look at it, the worse it looks. And when you put it all together, basically the Supreme Court has said in the past week, no rules for the powerful, no rights for the powerless. So if you're homeless, you can be thrown in jail for the crime of not having enough money to get a hotel room. But if you're the President of the United States, you can commit an undetermined number of crimes under color of law and get away with it. This is not good. I'm telling you, this is going to backfire politically. Because what I'm seeing from the left now, if you thought people were discouraged by what happened last week with Biden's performance, they are now outraged and terrified that Donald Trump is going to get in office and be a complete madman dictator. So this is politically, this is a gift to the left, though it is a blow to the country.
So Van Jones is thinking that somehow or another, the immunity, the win streak, the debate, a series of events that has occurred here that seem to have gone Trump's way, ultimately could be politically advantageous to the left. Van Jones looks very melancholy while he's talking here. He looks very defeated. And again, this is on CNN. Let's shift over here to Scott.
Scott?
I'll take another political view of this. I was thinking about the last 30, 35 days or so. I'm not sure any presidential candidate in modern history has had the incredible run of luck of Donald Trump. I mean, from the moment he got convicted in New York on a case that broadly unified the right, and he got his big cash infusion, to the debate implosion of Biden last week, to now we know from the Supreme Court ruling today, he's not going to see the inside of a courtroom outside of sentencing in New York before November, he is on an amazing luck. Democrats were hoping the month of June would totally change the trajectory of this campaign, and it did. Now they're in a nosedive, and they have no idea how to pull out of it. He is on an incredible winning streak right now, and his campaign 30 days after getting convicted is in far better shape than it was.
So that's CNN. They're reacting there. And right before we get to our guest here, Dr. Marc Siegel, in just 1 second, I wanted to play this clip from Greg Gutfeld because I want to start our conversation off around this.
Remember, the media reacted in horror over Joe's condition, not because they saw it, it's because we saw it. I still think it's the worst scandal in political history, a party and a compliant media protecting a sham government run by a collection of progressive interests, and because they prefer that to democracy. It's just easier this way.
So there's Greg Gutfeld talking about it as a scandal. Let's get him on here right now. Dr. Marc Siegel, you've had a busy morning, watched you on Outnumbered earlier today. Thank you for being with us on our show. We appreciate you.
Great to be on with you. Thank you.
So you're Fox News medical correspondent. Of course, there's a lot of politics to discuss around Joe Biden's performance last week. But a lot of people are saying that, our eyes deceive us. Joe Biden is fine. The curtain's kind of pulled back on there. Your medical expertise on Joe Biden's abilities to lead this country right now.
Well, first of all, this has been going on a long time. Now, I have a rule. This goes back to the Goldwater rule, that you don't analyze someone you don't examine. But there's so many signs of this over so many months, and I've been talking about this for years already. Dementia or cognitive impairment is progressive. So it didn't just happen overnight. And it's not just due to a cold. And it's not due to a cold medication. That can make it worse, but that's not the underlying issue. And I've talked to multiple neurologists over the past many months, and it's clear that a pattern is emerging of someone who's rigid, who has spatial disorientation at times, that can't follow his thoughts clearly at times, that's better early in the day than late, that has a problem with walking and gait, that has a problem with speech, that has, according to Carl Bernstein, who's a pretty accurate reporter, I would say, wrote that All the President's Men, he has freezing episodes that he has personally witnessed that could be with the white matter of the brain, which is the outside of the brain. To me, the whole thing fits together with someone who's had an irregular heartbeat for years, that's been managed on blood thinners, and that you can have what's called silent strokes or silent ischemia, where you don't get enough blood flow to small areas of the brain, and it adds up over time. That's what I'm concerned about. And by the way, I'm worried, most concerned about where his doctor is.
Yes.
I mean, whatever happened to transparency in public office? Whatever happened to a doctor coming forward and trying to explain away our fears in a real way, or coming up with information that confirms our fears?
Yeah. I think that a lot of American voters certainly have a right to have a question here, but there's also a human element. A lot of people can relate to seeing what they're seeing in the president, and there's a lot of sadness there, too. We're speaking with Dr. Marc Siegel right now. Originally when we reached out to book you, it was before the debate happened, so I didn't want to miss the opportunity to ask you about Joe Biden. But I've got 4 kids, Doctor. I have a 14-year-old son, almost 12-year-old daughter, 8, and then 3. And I have been focused very squarely on cell phones and kids and the pressure on me as a mom to let my kid have, the devices in their hands, but also looking at studies coming out right now that are talking about the overt anxiety and depression that kids are experiencing while using these cell phones for whatever reasons. I wanted to get your medical expertise opinion on what these cell phones are doing to our kids.
Nobody is saying this better right now than the Surgeon General of the United States. I interviewed him a couple weeks ago. I've been on a track of interviewing him regularly. He started off with a warning on loneliness. Then he noted that the loneliness was not with the elderly, which is what he expected. People that get very old and lose people and lose their faculties. It's with young people. And he said, how do young people end up so lonely? And he figured out the separations that occurred during the pandemic and the overuse of cell phones and the overuse of social media. And he started to study that. And he put out a warning on that a year ago. And then he wrote an op-ed in the Times. And I actually followed it up by interviewing him and writing an op-ed in USA Today. It's clear that social media is not just bullying kids, not just exposing them to violence and sexuality at a young age, not just marginalizing kids, but also taking the place of real learning. You can't learn math while you're watching some video on TikTok. That's the biggest problem. It's substitution in the wrong direction.
Doc, do you think that when parents are trying to make the decisions on what to do with their kids, what is your advice? There's so much pressure. The kids want it because everybody else has it. You can understand that. But the parents don't know what to do right now.
Well, there's another aspect, and this doesn't apply to you because you sound like a very energetic, caring parent. But parents get tired with young kids. And it's easier, there's a study just out of Hungary of what happens when you hand a kid a cell phone when they're anxious or angry, when they're really young, around 4 years old. Guess what happens? They quiet down, but then their ability to relate or to use messages in the real world to quiet them down is lost. So I think for parents, it's got to be a warning sign. No phones at the table. Let's have family time. How about schools? I'm all for that. No phones in schools. There's some laws that are before different state legislatures on that. I think you shouldn't be allowed to have a cell phone in the classroom. The argument that, well, you needed to call your parent in an emergency is phony because teachers have cell phones. So I think we have to limit cell phone use and limit social media access if we want our kids to learn, maybe go back in time.
Yeah. Yeah, I think it's great advice, and I think that parents need to hear medical professionals like you saying these things to give them the strength they need to go against the grain. And you're listing things that, like feelings and emotions and conditions that are evoked with the youth's usage of social media. I think adults can experience those same types of anxiety and depression with too much usage of social media as well. Isn't that true?
Yeah, that's true. I think we're most worried about kids because of what we call the developing brain, but it is not just kids. It's adults as well. And in social relationships with adults is deteriorating because of all the cell phone use. It's not the right way to communicate, really. It's a form of shorthand. It's not useless. It's actually quite useful, but it shouldn't be the main way that we all communicate. And the pandemic obviously made that a lot worse because we were told to stay away from each other, which was problematic because the virus spread anyway.
Yes, I completely agree. Dr. Siegel, thank you for being with us today. Last question before we turn you loose here. You mentioned the Surgeon General, Vivek Murthy, who came out and said that they were going to basically assess a warning label on the usage of these things. Do you feel like this is a parent-controlled environment, or do you feel like the government should be regulating at least the companies potentially more to help parents along?
That's a really tough question to answer. I am against overregulation in general, but the Surgeon General has convinced me, using the model of tobacco warnings on cigarette packages, that it's the right thing to have overuse warnings, digital warnings on social media. I like that idea. I didn't think I would, but I like that idea. And the other point you're making is to go right to the companies who say, there's nothing wrong here. We're teaching kids. And say to them, where's your information? What does your study data show? Because our show a direct correlation between overuse of social media and anxiety and depression.
Yeah. Yep, I think so. Thank you for being willing to talk about this topic with us today. Dr. Marc Siegel, we appreciate you. We hope you have a good afternoon.
Great to be with you. Thank you.
Thank you as well. Fox News medical correspondent, clinical professor of medicine, and a practicing internist at NYU how do you say that? Medical Center, Langone. I don't know how to say that. I loved listening to Dr. Marc Siegel because anytime you can get somebody on who is a professional that isn't just a political pundit, I like to listen to thoughts and perspectives and opinions from people who have an expertise that I certainly don't have. Lawyers do the same thing, and they weigh in on something. And, of course, they have a political slant. Everybody has some sort of political slant. I think that this is a really, really challenging conversation because we're talking about applied regulation, and we're conservatives who are thinking less regulation on the whole. I mean, I don't know how much when this first came out from the Surgeon General about this warning label. Let's listen to the Surgeon General here speaking.
Not only have companies not demonstrated that their platforms are safe for kids, but there's growing evidence of harm. It shows us, in fact, that when adolescents spend more than 3 hours a day on social media, we're seeing an association with a doubling of risk of anxiety and depression symptoms. And the average amount of use per day among adolescents is nearly 5 hours. So that's deeply concerning to me, not just as Surgeon General, but as a parent myself. Now, a warning label would help parents to understand these risks. Many parents don't know that those risks exist. And we have data from tobacco warning labels that in fact tells us that they can be helpful in changing awareness and changing behavior.
I feel like if you're going to talk about government intervention and regulation, warning label is pretty tame. It's just like, hey, this could be bad for you. And then you get to read it and you get to say, okay, thank you. And then you can go on and use the product. I mean, warning labels don't stop people from smoking cigarettes other than potentially putting the thought in their mind like, maybe I won't. So I'm not opposed to this. I wonder how many parents are going to be like, all of a sudden, wait, 5 hours of social media usage for my kids is a bad thing? And, Brad, when I'm thinking about social media usage, since I'm an old fart, I'm thinking like, who spends 5 hours on Facebook? That's not what it is. It's TikTok, predominantly TikTok, watching videos, watching, probably YouTube shorts and Instagram, scrolling and scrolling and scrolling on Instagram. I find scrolling on social media for personal usage as opposed to like if I'm on Twitter, it's essentially for work. Yeah. That's a little bit different. When I'm scrolling through things for personal purposes, I'm constantly assessing my lot in life with everybody else's. Sometimes it's good, sometimes it's bad. I don't have negative feelings towards people in my timeline or my feeds, but it's like a constant practice in, am I doing this right? Am I doing enough? Should I be doing more? They look like they're having a great time. I wonder if my kids are having a great time. I mean, it's just a natural place to go.
Yeah. And the thing that you always have to remember is like social media isn't real life. And you have to keep it in your mind that everybody in their life has their ups and their downs, and nobody makes a highlight reel of their downs. Well, I say that it might be changing now.
I feel like, gosh, I don't know. Maybe in the 2 o'clock hour I'll start about this. I'm holding off on talking about this because I don't know if I'll be able to shut up. But youth sports. Everything about it. I was having everybody I talked to about this in my real life. When I start saying things, they're like, yes, because youth sports it's one of the things that I have the most vivid memories of being an athlete, of like a game situation. I can tell you what a gym smelled like for a basketball game, or I can tell you like the lighting was orange in that gym and it was, the sun. We played on a Saturday morning and it was glaring in on that. Yeah, I could tell you all of these really vivid, painted, burned in memories that I have from sports throughout the course of my life. Some of them are my best memories. Some of them are not great memories. But the culture around youth sports today has shifted so far away from the youth. It's heartbreaking. And social media is where I feel that the most. And it's the way kids are accessories to accomplishments that you can claim together that doesn't have the element that you have. Nobody's like, my kid was up in the bottom of the 7th inning with the game on the line and he struck out. I love him anyway. That's never on there. But that stuff happens every night.
Every night.
Every night. In fact, this is all I can think about. And this doesn't just live in the youth sports realm for me because I'm neurotic like this. When I'm watching professional athletes and like cheering for the Cardinals, and listen, I'm a super fan of the Cardinals. I'm going to a Pirates game on Thursday in Pittsburgh. I'm going to Nationals Park in D.C. on Friday. We're traveling, my husband and I, going to just do this, just the two of us, since our normal baseball season is over, just kind of a him and me thing. I love the Cardinals, but I used to see them as this thing that existed in like another reality where these are machines that play baseball. All I do is see humans now. And with every great success that somebody has on an athletic field, I can't not see the failure on the other side that had to happen in order for the success to occur. And because I'm like this, I will mentally dwell on the mental state or the existence or the understanding that the success does not exist without the failure. Because in sports, people win and people lose. And that's what I love about it, because you can put all the effort, all the work, all the mental preparation, all the physical preparation into competing at your best level, and you still will win and lose. But you have to play the game to find out. I love that. But the celebration is really in the journey. Because if you understand and respect the journey to get to the place where you can actually compete at that level, then the losses don't crush you and the wins don't overinflate your ego. You got to stay steady. And I don't feel like social media is a steady world. There's no balance. So here I am, like, every time my kids have an athletic failure, I'm like, I should tell the world. It's good for the world. No, Mom. No. Stop it. Don't do that.
It's good for the world.
The game was on the line. It was a C-team volleyball tournament in a rural gymnasium at a Lutheran school in a land far, far away, and my daughter served the ball into the net. Like, no. That's not a real scenario, I don't think, but she might be thinking of one right now if she's listening going, Mom.
But the thing about it is, and this is my experience as a coach, as a youth pastor, those moments of failure that everybody looks at as like, that's where the real value in youth sports is. What do you do in those moments of adversity? Because like what you were saying there, you go through all the preparation, you do all the hard work, and still there's winning and there's losing. And it's how to deal with what happened here, what went wrong, and then how to move forward from it and not to dwell on it. So the value, like to me, the value has always been in how you react and respond to failures in your life versus the wins. The wins are easy to respond to. It's the failures that help you build character.
Yeah. And if you take that out of youth sports, right now, like youth baseball, it's just a bunch of free agents. The parents are the agents. Mid-season, if your team's not doing well, everybody hates each other and they're all trying out for other teams and subbing. So they're going to play on other teams, which means that kids who have been faithful to those teams are now sitting on the bench because the coach is thinking about next year. The kid is completely left behind. There's so much. I could go on forever. We have to go to a break. There's so much money being sucked out of families who can't afford this. For what? Oh, man, one day. You know what I should do? I should just do a podcast episode where I can get it all out and then just put it up on the Annie Fry Show podcast and barf it all over there so that if you are interested, you can listen. If you're not, it's just not your problem. Let's take a quick break. Went a little bit long here. Thank you to Dr. Marc Siegel for being with us. Will Sharf in studio for a couple segments in the 1 o'clock hour. Oh, it's going to be a fun one. Wiggins America, next.
Metronome. This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Here we go. CassonsSons.com, CassonsSons.com. I trust Cassons with my family vehicles post-purchase. I bought multiple vehicles, 3 of them, driving 2 currently, my husband and myself, from Cassons, CassonsSons.com. And that's where we go to get our cars taken care of. They do the best job. I trust them. I hope that matters to you because it matters to me. When I'm going to spend tens of thousands of dollars on a vehicle, I want to make sure I'm getting a great vehicle at a great price. That's why I shop at Cassons, because I trust them to care enough about me that when I leave that situation, when I buy that car the next time, whether it's in a year or 5 years or more, that I need to buy a vehicle, I go, I'm just going to go to them. And that's the God's honest truth. When Jared hit that deer the other last fall, I said, we're just going to buy from Cassons. And my husband was 100% right there with me. We were both in that mindset. CassonsSons.com. Right now, a 2023 Challenger GT lease for 42 months, 0 down, $399 a month, tax, title, and license not included. 618-800-2712, 618-800-2712, CassonsSons.com.
Hi, Chad Hansen with Hansen's Tree Service. If your trees are looking sick or if you have insects that aren't welcome in your landscape, Hansen's can help. Our plant health care program offers tree and shrub fertilization as well as pest management to maintain a great-looking landscape. Check us out at hansenstree.com.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely on advertisements.
If you've been injured in a car wreck, you need the best. Let us make your case our cause. Car accident? Call Onder Law for a free review at 314 or 618-9 million.
It's time to get your body in shape for the warm weather, and Victory Men's Health can help. Mark Cox here for my friends at Victory. They've got semaglutide for ladies and men, and all you need to do is go to victorymenshealth.com to find out more. They've got 4 convenient locations now: Sunset Hills, Wing Haven, Town and Country, and O'Fallon, Illinois. A simple blood test, and you could be on the path to losing up to 15% of your body weight. Tell them Mark Cox sent you. Go to victorymenshealth.com. Mark Cox here. If you're nearing retirement or already retired, call my friends Thomas Helbig and Bob Kershaw with the Retirement Advisory Group. They'll show you how to link to the market without the risk. They're the official financial advisors of my show. Go online to retirementkey.com.
Paid for by Christian Care Ministry.
You know, a lot of times you have to choose between something high quality or something that saves you money. But if you could get both, why not? Especially when it comes to health care, and that is MediShare. You get both. Many families save $500 a month with MediShare, and that's huge. But it's also true that people wind up way more satisfied, too. The member satisfaction rate for MediShare is double that of the typical health insurance plan. Double. That's because MediShare works. It has for more than 30 years. It's a community of Christians who have shared more than $5 billion of each other's bills. People love having telehealth. They love the huge PPO network. So, yeah, really, you can save a ton and like it better. Imagine being happy with how you're taking care of your health care. So if you're self-employed or part of the gig economy, or you just want a plan you're happy with, you can call right now and get a price in 2 minutes. Here's the number. Just call 855-51-BIBLE. That's 855-51-BIBLE, 855-51-BIBLE.
I love today's poll question. Do you know anyone who was shocked by Joe Biden's debate performance? Really looking forward to hearing not only the comments, but the results of this poll. So vote by going to YouTube and typing in Annie Fry. The YouTube live chat poll will come up along with the stream. It is 12:51. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
JerryKelly.com. Who are you voting for in the Missouri governor's primary? Join me, Annie Fry, for the Republican Governors Forum on July 11th. Register for this free event presented by the Republican Central Committee of St. Louis County at 971talk.com/events.
If you change your mind,
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
if you need me, let me know. Gonna be around. If you got no place to go when you're feeling down.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. We appreciate you being with us. Got to speak with Dr. Marc Siegel earlier in this hour. Will Sharf coming in studio in the next hour for a few segments. It's going to be fun. Have a lot to talk to him about. And a reminder, if you go to jerryscafeteria.com, that is where us in here and this crew are going to hustle as soon as we can after the show to get over to Jerry's. We're going to be there till 5 p.m. I'll probably get there around 3:30 p.m. I'm going to have a lunch or a dessert or something. The food that they brought in, you guys last week, we had no problem eating that food.
Goodness.
It
That'd be great.
So delicious. So please, basically, they've been struggling. We listened to John come in on Friday and talk to us about how inflation and the shuttering up of parts of the Granite City steel mill have affected his business. And I got a lot of people who sent me his video, and I just want to help. So we're just showing up. It's informal. Come eat at Jerry's Cafeteria. Support good people making great food in Granite City, Illinois. I'll be there from about 3:30 to 5 p.m. Brad, you're coming along with me. Ryan, you're going to hustle over as soon as you get your work done.
Yep.
All right, let's do Wiggins America.
Wiggins! Oh, Wiggins! Great transition now to food news.
Food news.
Let's talk about some of these value boxes. We reported on this last week. McDonald's has one. Anybody tried? Anybody tried the new McDonald's box?
No.
I did that day.
Talked myself into it.
There was I did some field research for this too, just so you know. There's a Wendy's one. There's a Burger King. Now Taco Bell getting in on the action, which is fine with me.
$5?
I went in and I tried it. $7 value box.
$7 value box?
They've had those boxes the whole time.
Stop. What's in the box?
What's in the box?
At Taco Bell.
The $7 Lux Craving box has, here's why it's value.
That's what we need to know.
A Chalupa Extreme. No, a Chalupa Supreme.
Chalupa Extreme.
I got ahead of myself.
Extreme Chalupa.
Chalupa Supreme, beefy 5-layer burrito, double stacked taco, chips and nacho cheese, and a medium drink. That's a pretty full meal.
That used to be
Yeah,
a $5
but it's not
box.
$7.
You're right. That used to be the $5 box.
How many things do you get at Taco Bell when you go to Taco Bell?
Usually 2 or 3.
Is Taco Bell, do you eat Taco Bell in quantity? Like, is a cheese roll-up 1 and a beef burrito 1?
Yes. I mean, you could put a cheese roll up in a beef burrito if you got real creative. You could just call that one.
They've actually done that.
That's called the beef burrito extreme.
Yes. Yeah. No, my go-to at Taco Bell has been nacho fries. Got to get the nacho fries. They're fantastic. Annie, go get the nacho fries.
I caught you eating them the other day.
Oh, I didn't. No, I was doing it in the open. I wasn't trying to do this in secret.
Yeah, he was laid out on the floor in the cafeteria here.
Yeah, in the kitchen, I was like, "Hey, everybody, look at me!
Every
look what
time
I'm doing."
someone would walk by and be like, "Taco Bell nacho fries."
Am I right?
Yep.
And they'd go, "Yeah,
get off the floor, dude.
You are." But you're in the way. You're in the way of the ice machine. The number 2 thing I get is the chicken enchilada burrito. Only $2.50 right now. It's not too bad.
Never had that.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Next one.
How many things do you get when you go to Taco Bell?
2 or 3. I've cut it down. Yeah,
I was going to say that's surprising to me.
I know because
inflation.
I could. Yeah, really, it's money.
I'm a 2
trying
or
to be
3,
good.
but the 3 is like a cheese roll up.
Yeah. Well, the nacho
And I have to be
fries
really hungry.
too is not a huge portion meal unless you get the really big ones with like loaded nacho fries. But yeah, I'm trying to do a little bit less. The next one I wanted to get to before we run out of time, Annie.
Yes. Hi. Hey.
Have
No.
you ever had avocado hand?
I've had avocado and I have hands.
The reason I ask you is because the article from the New York Post says that women between the ages of 23 and 39 are the most likely to get injured this way.
People cutting their avocados?
Yes, that's
Yeah.
exactly right.
Because you cut it like this. 'Cause
Yes.
You're not supposed to cut with the knife down to your hand.
That's exactly right.
Is
It says
this an assessment on the fact that women eat more avocados or women are stupider?
I don't know. I'm going to go with the second one just based
that's a
on
trap.
nothing. But yes,
I this was like head first.
Yeah, let me look here. The article says, it says they're stupider.
What do we do with the trap? We spring it.
Go for that trap. It does say that right now is the most common time that doctors find avocado hand. They say that any cut to a hand between April and July, 9 out of 10 of them come from trying to cut an avocado.
The other 1 out of 10 are bagels.
Maybe.
Man.
The only advice they give is basically what you
Is
said.
don't cut your hand.
Don't cut your hand. cut away from your hand and do the sort of around the edge thing, like the go around the globe, like the long way.
Put the avocado down on the cutting board.
Yep.
Put the knife under your hand so the dull side is under your hand, and then move the avocado that way. Don't ever put the blade towards your hand.
Is there any other way that people cut avocados other than around the edge? I've never seen that.
I definitely have a way. Ask my husband to do it. He's like, you're not smart enough to do this, Annie.
Gotcha. I was hoping to give like some great advice on.
That's not true. That's not true.
The hardest part of an avocado is trying to get that center thing out.
Oh.
And they didn't give any advice on that.
You just hit it with the knife, and the knife will cut into it, and then you twist.
Well, I try that, but I don't know if...
You can have a man do it for you too, Brian.
Okay. I'll call my neighbor.
Call Brad.
Dennis. That's my neighbor.
I love that your neighbor's name is Dennis. Why has he not been a character on this show?
I'll tell you what, too. Dennis listens,
Dennis!
too. So, hey,
Dennis.
Dennis.
Dennis, see you at Jerry's Cafeteria.
Yes, we will see you this afternoon. Speaking of food news, at Jerry's Cafeteria, we'll all be there.
Yes, we will. Jerry'sCafeteria.com in Granite City after the show. Come see us. Will Sharf's coming in studio to see us next. We'll be right back.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon from my friends at ThrottleNet, and you've probably heard George Rosenthal from ThrottleNet on the show. He's a technology whiz, and George and his team can educate you and your business on the dangers lurking with technology. Here's a unique opportunity along those lines. Does your company have a lunch and learn or guest speakers? For a limited time, ThrottleNet is providing free lunch and learns to provide cybersecurity awareness training. One click can cause a ton of damage to your business. ThrottleNet is determined to make sure that doesn't happen. And if it does, they're the cybersecurity experts who can help. ThrottleNet is known for high customer satisfaction, averaging 99% happiness with over 35,000 surveys. They have an industry-leading response time of less than 2 minutes. And no clients of ThrottleNet have ever paid ransom as a result of a cyber attack. Contact ThrottleNet at throttlenet.com/971 and we can schedule your free company lunch. Don't miss out. Find out more today about ThrottleNet at throttlenet.com/971.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
A new call for the president to withdraw. Lisa Brady, Fox News. A member of Congress from Texas becoming the first sitting Democratic lawmaker to urge President Biden to step out of the presidential race.
Congressman Lloyd Doggett pointing to President Biden's disappointing poll numbers and his rocky debate performance, saying the president, quote, failed to effectively defend his many accomplishments and expose Trump's many lies. Several other elected Democrats have defended President Biden and believe he is still capable of handling his responsibilities as commander-in-chief.
Fox's Ryan Schmelz on Capitol Hill. The first White House briefing since last week's debate is scheduled for later this hour. Meantime, the president just holding an event on extreme weather.
Ignoring climate change is deadly and dangerous and irresponsible.
Visiting the D.C. Emergency Operations Center.
These climate-fueled extreme weather events don't just affect people's lives. They also cost money, they hurt the economy, and they have a significant negative psychological effect on people.
He's proposing new rules to protect federal workers from extreme heat and plans a White House summit on that issue later this summer, while calling out Republicans for opposing climate investments. Also announcing that White House summit. The president also highlighting Hurricane Beryl, making history as the earliest Category 5 storm as it heads toward Jamaica, already blamed for several deaths, including in Grenada. Fox Weather's Max Gordon.
The Prime Minister of St. Vincent and the Grenadines says that on Union Island there, 90% of houses are either damaged or destroyed, and that the airport's roof has been ripped off. This storm intensified very quickly, fueled by extremely warm waters. Beryl went from a tropical depression to a tropical storm to a major hurricane in less than 48 hours.
Jamaica's under a hurricane warning. Forecasters also urging the Cayman Islands, Belize, Yucatan Peninsula, and southwestern Gulf of Mexico to monitor the storm closely. America is listening to Fox News.
When life spells heartburn, how do you spell relief? ROLAIDS.
What about when life spells fried chicken?
ROLAIDS.
Fourth cup of coffee?
Still ROLAIDS.
Extra cheesy pizza?
Rolaids always spells relief. Rolaids' powerful dual-active formula begins neutralizing acid on contact to fight your heartburn fast. So, when life spells heartburn, Rolaids spells relief. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Summertime in St. Louis is back. Sunshine. It's moderate humidity going through the afternoon. 94 degrees for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Maybe a spot thunderstorm after midnight. 76. Wednesday, partly sunny, hot and humid with scattered showers and thunderstorms around. Some could be on the strong side. 94 is going to feel hotter than that, though, on Wednesday with the humidity. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
Diamond Shop, they're in Clayton, but they're online at thediamondshop.net. And shopping at the Diamond Shop is such a pleasure to go in and see the beautiful things that they have, that they've created, the things that you come to expect. One of the things that I really love that they do is they have diamond studs. And of course, you know, everybody wants a nice set of diamond studs. It's a kind of a staple for a lady's jewelry collection, but they cost different based on, you know, the clarity and the size of the diamond and so on and so forth. I love that they have various shapes of these diamond studs that you can purchase, and that they have a trade-in and trade-up program. You go in and ask them about it, but if you are looking to get a loved one something special, start with that diamond studs. If they don't have those, some really nice ones, you can get those at the diamond shop, and you can get one set to fit your budget. And then as time allows, maybe upgrade them along the way. This is the type of stuff that the diamond shop does that I just absolutely love, because they're always working on serving you in the best possible way with a beautiful product, great service, great price, to have you come back again and again. They have special financing available with 6 months, same as cash. You can learn all about it online at thediamondshop.net.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-699-1059. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 five-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-699-1059. That's 800-699-1059. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Hi, I'm Jim Brennan with McKelvey Homes. We've been building homes since 1898. Our Cottleville Trails, located just off Highway 364 at Guttermouth Road, a master planned community with 5 lakes, pool, playground, an extensive trail system that connects to all the restaurants, bars, and entertainment in the quaint village of Cottleville. We will build to suit from one of our popular Liberty Series ranch, story and a half, or 2-story homes from the 500s. Visit McKelveyHomes.com and move up to McKelvey.
If you owe the IRS, you have a legal issue, and you need the Lance Drury Law Firm. We'll protect your rights. Log on at LanceDruryLaw.com or call us toll-free at 888-367-6512.
This Thursday is the 4th annual Music for Fireworks special on 97.1. This is Ryan Wiggins. It's my own selection of patriotic songs, speeches, and slogans from our nation's history. So tune in from 8 to 11, Music for Fireworks, commercial-free, July 4th.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what they're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong, I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Once again, Willie, I find myself in the rather lonely middle. So I think it is logical that some acts are immune. The core constitutional responsibilities of any president, put Mr. Trump aside, ought to be immune from prosecution. Purely private acts ought not be immune. And so the hard part, again, is in the middle, right? What is and what is not an official act? I think we have to avoid the following construction. I don't like Mr. Trump. This opinion is good for Mr. Trump. Therefore, we are on the brink of a constitutional apocalypse. I don't believe that's true. But part of Jack Smith's case is now gone, and he's going to have to fight for the rest. His road to prosecution is longer and bumpier and more narrow. All of those things are true, and I disagree with certain particulars in the case. But in the main, Willie, it makes sense to me that there is immunity in some cases and no immunity in others. And to your point, we have to figure out the rest.
So shocking, guys. This is an MSNBC legal analyst, Chuck Rosenberg, saying that immunity decision that the Supreme Court came down with yesterday, yeah, it makes sense. And Will Sharf just skipped into the studio with glee. Will Sharf, good to have you back.
Great to be with you guys. Yeah, that MSNBC guy, I mean, he was saying the right things, but it also sounded like we'd killed his puppy yesterday or something. I mean, seeing the liberal meltdown over the last 24 hours has just been a beautiful sight to behold.
I have a string of clips that we're going to play for you before you leave here and just let you kind of pepper those back and forth. Will, can I share this quick two-message conversation that I had with you yesterday?
Absolutely.
Because I asked you, I said, off the record, and it said, just as immediately as it came out, and I said, Will, on a scale of 1 to 10, how do you feel about the ruling? And you wrote back, 11. And that was it. And I was like, okay, we'll take you as soon as we can. Open floor. Tell us about yesterday, the ruling, what you had hoped, what you got, how you feel.
So, this case started almost a year ago. We came up with this basic legal theory last August when we joined President Trump's team. We always thought that the law was on our side. We always thought that our construction naturally followed from the Constitution, that this is the way the law always has been and should be. Over time, we took some hits, though. We took some hits in the lower courts. We took some hits during Supreme Court argument. But I'll tell you, walking out of argument in late April, we thought we were going to get an opinion that looked a lot like this. And then over the last few months, you had all of these legal commentators and all of these liberals who were basically saying otherwise. And you start to sort of doubt yourself. And then within about 30 seconds of reading the first few paragraphs of this opinion, we knew that we'd won not just a historic win for President Trump, but a historic win for the Constitution and for the separation of powers and the institution of the presidency. At oral argument, Justice Gorsuch said that this is a case for the ages, and that's really how we feel, that we've vindicated a core constitutional principle here. And we're just really excited to get down to the hard work now of applying this in D.C., in New York, in Florida, in the other cases that we still have going.
We're speaking with Will Sharf. He's in studio with us right now, a part of Donald Trump's team of attorneys, a candidate for Missouri Attorney General as well, and served as a former federal prosecutor for the Eastern District of Missouri. Now, bear with me here. Joe Biden dissents. Let's listen in.
At the outset of our nation, it was the character of George Washington, our first president, to define the presidency. He believed power was limited, not absolute, and that power always resides with the people, always. Now, over 200 years later, with today's Supreme Court decision, once again, it will depend on the character of the men and women who hold that presidency that are going to define the limits of the power of the presidency, because the law will no longer do it. I know I will respect the limits of the presidential powers I have for 3.5 years, but any president, including Donald Trump, will now be free to ignore the law. I concur with Justice Sotomayor's dissent today. Here's what she said. She said, in every use of official power, the president is now a king above the law. With fear for our democracy, I dissent. End of quote. So should the American people dissent. I dissent.
I dissent from saying end of quote out loud.
Yeah, I think it's crazy that Joe Biden regularly reads teleprompter instructions and we're just supposed to ignore it.
And his teleprompter reading is his best asset.
It's crazy to me. But look, Joe Biden said the quiet part out loud during his speech yesterday. That was the most remarkable thing to me. He said he was disappointed that this case wasn't going to be able to move to trial before the election because basically the reason for this trial was informing the American people before the election. So what Joe Biden is admitting there is that he launched a campaign of lawfare intended to interfere with the 2024 election by tying President Trump up in the courts and keeping him off the campaign trail. Joe Biden admitted that in public yesterday. That's insane to me. We're not supposed to contest elections in the courts in this country. Cases are supposed to proceed at their own pace with all due deliberation, with all due legal process, not based on some artificial election timeline. So Joe Biden's comments to me were just deeply alarming. With respect to the substance of what you just played, though, no president is above the law. The law is very clear. A president has an obligation to follow the law for the entirety of our republic. The powerful structural checks on the presidency imposed by the Constitution and imposed by the law have successfully restrained presidents from doing all the bad things that liberals are now crying foul about. That's the system that we have in place. The idea that post hoc criminal prosecution of presidents for their official acts, the idea that that has some sacred place in our constitutional system doesn't make any sense. It's literally never happened before until Joe Biden decided to start this campaign of lawfare against President Trump and drag him into criminal cases in 4 different courts across the country. To me, that's the radical innovation. That's the departure from constitutional norms. And that's what we've been fighting against from day one.
It's very well said. We got Will Sharf in studio with us right now. That was Joe Biden that you just heard. Now let's shift over to CNN's Norm Eisen saying something
essentially similar. What the Supreme Court majority, again, including terribly conflicted justices who have no business sitting on this case under any standard of judicial ethics. What they've done, Sarah, is rewrite American history. It goes all the way back to the founding American idea. We overthrew King George III because we did not want a ruler to have this kind of absolute immunity. And the Supreme Court has now altered that. And we have to be honest that we're facing a major party political candidate who has said he wants to be a dictator on day one. He wants to assert autocratic powers. They've just given him a license for dictatorship.
So, Will, we've got CNN saying that you have now provided King Trump with a license for dictatorship. He's got to win in November 1st. Like, don't these assets now apply to the current president of the United States, who's Joe Biden? It's like that's a foregone conclusion that Trump would be a dictator. We'd have to win.
Yeah, all these guys are essentially conceding that Joe Biden can't win at the ballot box, and that's why the campaign of lawfare was so important. But let me talk about Norm Eisen for a second. Norm Eisen goes on TV and pretends to be this sort of kindly old wise man who has great legal knowledge. Norm Eisen has been behind this legal campaign against President Trump going back to the very initiation of the Mueller-Russia collusion investigation hoax.
Wow.
From day one, going back to 2016 and 2017, Norm Eisen has been one of the legal masterminds of this campaign against President Trump. It's absolutely disgusting that he's put out there as some sort of neutral arbiter of the law, neutral arbiter of the facts. What he is saying makes absolutely no sense. I worked on the first Trump impeachment as outside counsel to United States Senator. Norm Eisen was behind that. Norm Eisen has been present in the media, behind the scenes, every step of the way with this entire campaign of lawfare. And the fact that he's still held out as an objective commentator is insane to me. And what he's saying makes no sense. Throughout the entirety of American history, we've had presidents do some really bad things. The Constitution has restrained them from doing the sort of damage to the republic that all of these leftist commentators are talking about now. We haven't had military coups. We haven't had presidents murdering their political rivals. That hasn't been a feature of the American system, even though we've never had a prosecution of a former president before. So the idea that the only thing keeping us safe from tyranny is this idea that after the fact somebody's going to prosecute a president, it doesn't mesh with American history. It certainly doesn't mesh with our constitutional structure, with the system that our founders set up to govern this country.
Well, okay, let's go to the legal mind that is Van Jones here.
The Supreme Court is functioning, and it is basically giving a green light for criminal activity in the Oval Office under certain circumstances, which I think, given the present state of our country, is very, very scary.
First of all, Van Jones is an avowed Marxist, so why we should be listening to him on matters of constitutional interpretation is insane to me.
I didn't want to play it. Ryan told me to.
But let's talk about what he's talking about here. He's saying that the Supreme Court is giving license to presidents to do X, Y, and Z. It's just not true. The Supreme Court is acknowledging a rule that both we and the Supreme Court believe has existed from the dawn of the Republic, that for a president's official acts in office, you have a lot of other checks on his power, you have a lot of other checks on his authority, but for a president's core presidential functions, you don't just get to prosecute him after the fact because you don't like the job he did. And that's what they're trying to do to President Trump here.
So I've heard today that Alvin Bragg has conceded that somehow or another this immunity, this is a big one. This is like a detail that there has been, to quote Donald Trump, so much winning in the last week.
We're not tired of winning yet.
No, we're not tired. There's been so many big, huge stories that have swung our way, and we are not used to this. It's been pretty amazing. But today there's a lot of discussion surrounding the idea that this immunity ruling from the Supreme Court could affect the already convicted felon name that they've gone for Donald Trump out of the Manhattan situation. Tell me about that.
Yeah, so this is an underreported part of the story. We obviously moved to dismiss the D.C. prosecution on the basis of presidential immunity, and that's the appeal that we just litigated and won at the U.S. Supreme Court. We also filed motions in that New York DA's case and in the Florida case to dismiss for reasons of presidential immunity, because both of those cases rely on, as evidence, official acts that President Trump made while he was in office. So the Supreme Court's opinion yesterday doesn't just apply to D.C. We believe that it also has a real impact on the New York case and on the Florida case. And in their haste to rush that New York case to trial before we resolve this issue of presidential immunity, Alvin Bragg, the DA there, he and his team may have created a massive vulnerability in their verdict, because the Supreme Court in their ruling yesterday says that evidence of immune acts, the presence of acts for which a president has immunity, that cannot be used as evidence even in a trial for acts that a president doesn't have immunity for. So basically in New York, the allegations, the core allegations in that case are over private conduct, President Trump's private conduct. He doesn't have immunity from that. But they introduced a ton of evidence of things that we believe are official acts, things like official White House communications while President Trump was in office. And the presence of that evidence, we believe, corrupts that entire trial and at the very least requires a retrial. So in their haste to get President Trump on trial as quickly as humanly possible to get that verdict, they cut their own legs out from underneath them. And yesterday, Alvin Bragg's team, instead of opposing our motion to continue sentencing and deal with this presidential immunity issue, they basically threw up their hands and said, there's a real issue here. We need to continue sentencing. And now it looks very, very unlikely that sentencing will proceed on July 11th.
Oh, man.
Wow.
Gosh, dang it. What a great week.
It's been a great week.
It's been unbelievable. I mean, I've watched President Trump. I've tried to go look at him in his less traditional media appearances he's done, like watching the Logan Paul one and what was it, the All In podcast or whatever, because I want to see how he's carrying himself, especially juxtaposed to Joe Biden, who, I don't even want to make fun of him about how deteriorated he is. Donald Trump handled that debate so well by letting Joe Biden be the story and that became the story. But how happy is Donald Trump today after win after win after win that are massively consequential to what happens not just in his election, but for this country?
I don't want to intrude on privileged attorney-client communications, but President Trump is pretty happy right now.
Fair enough.
But look at the debate. I agree. He just did a masterful job. He only really hit Biden directly in a personal way twice. Once when he said, I didn't understand what Joe just said. And then he pauses and goes, brilliantly, I'm not sure if Joe even knows what he said. And then the other was when Biden blatantly lied about being a 6 handicap in golf. I mean, the guy can't walk down a flight of stairs. I promise you, he is not a 6 handicap in golf. And Trump, it was perfect. He just goes, I've won numerous club championships. I'm a great golfer. I could crush you in golf. And it was, I loved that.
That's what we needed. It was the cherry on top. Not to mention the fact he's like, I'm a 6 handicap. And Trump's like, no, you're not. You're lying. He goes, I'm an 8.
Yes, exactly.
That was your own fact check. Did CNN fact check that one? Good grief. All right. You're going to stay for another segment?
Yeah, sure.
Oh, I'm so happy. All right. Will Sharf in studio with us right now, Donald Trump's attorney. He's a candidate for Missouri Attorney General, a former federal prosecutor with tons of insight and expertise on what we're dealing with right now in this country. So get on the Annie Fry YouTube channel if you've got questions or challenges. Will is not afraid of any of them. We will field those when we come back. Don't go away.
It's neither drink nor drug induced. No, I'm just doing all right.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Day to be alive. I know the sun's still shining.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Hard times in the neighborhood, but why can't every day be just this good?
Let's talk about Jen Teskey, jenteskeyhomes.com. This team of experts with RE/MAX Alliance, you can reach out to them at 618-541-1010, 618-541-1010. If you are moving right now, if you are looking to list your home, if you are in the area looking to buy a home and you've been considering the beautiful Metro East, Jen Teskey and her team at RE/MAX Alliance, these are your people. 618-541-1010. She is going to be there to give you the dedication, the team dedication that you need to make sure that your house is going to get listed for the right price, that you are going to be competitive, that you are going to get the honesty and advice that you need in order to have a successful listing, because she's there for you. Her team is there for you, and RE/MAX Alliance is there for you. 618-541-1010 is the number to call. I believe you can text that number as well, 618-541-1010. Just experts when it comes to the Edwardsville, Glen Carbon, Maryville, Troy, and Collinsville area. Reach out to Jen Teskey with RE/MAX Alliance online at jenteskeyhomes.com.
Mark Cox here. Did you know the Rockwood School District is a great place to work? They're currently hiring school bus drivers, cafeteria workers, and custodial staff, as well as summer positions for mowers and landscapers. They have openings in Adventure Club, which is before and after school care. They offer competitive pay, flexible work hours, and a rewarding work environment. Discover the Rockwood Advantage and join an amazing team. Go to rsdmo.org/jobs. That's rsdmo.org/jobs.
You've been listening to the very popular Wellness One for many years, Saturdays and Sundays on 97.1 FM Talk. We're happy to share that we've expanded the show to 4 times a week. Yes, 4 times every weekend. Saturday at 10 a.m., Saturday at 8 p.m., Sunday at 9 a.m., and Sunday at 2 p.m. It's the same great show designed to cut through the nonsense and provide you a common sense, science-based strategy for a healthy life. So join TJ and Aaron for Wellness One. Now 4 times a week on 97.1 FM Talk.
Right now, get 2 select 2 or 2.5 quart red, white, and blue annuals for $10. And buy 2, get 1 free on select paint and exterior stain via Lowe's gift card rebate. Shop these deals before they're gone, because Lowe's knows summer savings. Valid through 7/10. Annuals offer in-store only. Excludes Alaska and Hawaii. Actual plant size and selection varies by location. Paint. More terms and restrictions apply. See Lowe's.com/rebates for details while supplies last.
Summer's greatest hits are going on now, and Macy's July 4th sale has summer's greatest savings, like 20 to 60% off warm weather styles to refresh your look. Shop amazing limited time specials like swim and cover-ups for your next beach day, 50% off. And sandals from On 34th, Tommy Hilfiger, and more, 30 to 40% off. Going on now at Macy's. Macy's Star Rewards members earn on every purchase, except gift cards, services, and fees. Savings off already reduced prices, exclusions apply.
When your state has tens of thousands too many dogs and cats, what do? Stop making so many dogs and cats. Puppy mills in Missouri are one part of the problem. Pet owners allowing their animals to breed is the other. When you spay or neuter your pet, they are happier, better behaved, and live longer. Plus, you reduce the number of homeless animals put to sleep. The Carroll House Quick Fix Pet Clinic is dedicated to saving pets' lives. Call 771-PETS or visit carrollhousepetclinic.org.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
Hey homeowners, it's time to transform your house into a masterpiece with Lakeside Renovation and Design, your James Hardie siding experts. Picture this, durable, weather-resistant siding that doesn't just protect, but elevates your home's value and curb appeal. James Hardie, the gold standard in siding, installed by the pros at Lakeside. Say goodbye to maintenance headaches and hello to a home that stands the test of time. Ready for a siding upgrade? Lakeside Renovation and Design is your go-to. Visit our showroom or call today. Unleash the potential of your home with James Hardie Siding.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. If you're not sure who to call for air conditioning services, contact the team at Air Comfort Service. With 55 years of experience and thousands of 5-star reviews, you can trust them with the comfort of your home. Visit aircomfortservice.com.
The Mark Reardon Show.
There is no scenario where Gavin Newsom, as the white shining knight, steps in and Kamala is still the vice presidential candidate. No. People will not have that.
Weekdays from 3 to 6.
St. Louis's home for conservative talk.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Interact with Annie on Facebook. The Annie Fry Show.
the Supreme Court imposing its judgment that principle, that we must have bold and decisive presidents, is more important than the principle that Justice Sotomayor is advancing, which is we should have presidents who obey the law.
Andy McCabe. Will Sharf is in studio, and we are having fun. Not as much fun as Will Sharf is having. How much have you slept?
I've slept about 4 hours over the last 2 days combined.
You're just a happy guy.
It's been rough. We've been doing a lot of work just trying to get our feet under ourselves. And actually, this afternoon I'm driving down to Springfield for an event. But
you're campaigning while you're winning.
Yeah, in my free time, I'm campaigning. But look, we've been all over the state. We've driven about 46,000 miles now, and it's just been a ton of fun meeting great conservatives all over the state.
Will Sharf is running for Attorney General here in the state of Missouri. He is an attorney for Donald Trump, a former federal prosecutor for the Eastern District of Missouri as well. So we've talked about the immunity trial or the immunity ruling. We've talked about some of the wins we've had here in the last week. Lay out for us the timeline of all of the legal challenges that Donald Trump faces, knowing the election day is a huge day. Like, it's make or break for the left to get this stuff done by then. What's it look like?
So currently we have appeals going in the New York civil case. That's the case brought by Attorney General Letitia James. We have appeals going in the Carroll 1 and Carroll 2 cases. Those are the cases relating to E. Jean Carroll's totally spurious allegations against President Trump. D.C. on the criminal side now gets remanded back to the district court for fact-finding around this immunity issue. We'll be arguing, obviously, that case cannot proceed because of the immunity issues, because how much of the indictment has now been knocked out. Georgia is going nowhere while we litigate over the basically kicking Fani Willis off of that case. The New York criminal case, I think we're going to get a stay of sentencing. We may get a retrial on this immunity issue. At the very least, we have a lot of appellate issues there, and I don't think there's going to be any shocking new development in that case for quite a while. And then down in Florida, people forget about it sometimes because it's not in the news as much. At the start, a lot of legal commentators said that Florida documents case over the documents seized in the Mar-a-Lago raid, that was the most threatening of all of the cases. What's actually transpired in court there, we're in front of a very fair judge, Eileen Cannon, and she has noted the numerous issues of prosecutorial misconduct and abuses that have occurred there. There are massive evidentiary issues over the custody with which evidence seized in the raid were kept. There are just huge problems with that case that are starting to come out in court now. And I'd note one final thing. Justice Thomas had a concurrence in the immunity case yesterday where he said that he believes, and this is an argument we've made in a number of courts now, that Jack Smith is unconstitutionally appointed, that he is not constitutionally authorized to exercise prosecutorial power. Now, if Justice Thomas's rule were the law, that would eliminate the D.C. and Florida cases. That's relevant because currently we have a motion to dismiss the Florida documents case on that exact ground, that Jack Smith is not constitutionally able to act as a federal prosecutor the way that he is. So if Judge Cannon dismisses that Florida case, we could very well end up back before the Supreme Court on that issue on a relatively quick timeline, potentially next October or November. And that would essentially eliminate, if we win, and I think we would, that would eliminate those two federal prosecutions against President Trump in their entirety.
Whew. Will Sharf speaking with us right now. I want to get to a couple of other things from the Supreme Court that happened over the past week. I know Ryan's got a question for you as well. But first, I want to ask you about the other ruling that came out that had to do with January 6th, because this happened in the midst of a lot of other things, and it's still very, very consequential. NBC News reports the Supreme Court on Friday ruled in favor of a former police officer who is seeking to throw out an obstruction charge for joining the Capitol riot on January 6, 2021. What can you tell us about that trial?
So there are a whole bunch of these January 6ers who were legitimately peaceful protesters, that they entered into the Capitol. They weren't the ones attacking the police or doing real property damage or anything like that. And the Department of Justice selectively chose, instead of charging them with misdemeanors like parading or being on public property
like
without authorization. Yeah, like instead of charging them appropriately, they hit them with this felony charge under a federal statute called 1512C2, which criminalizes obstructing a government proceeding. So the question is, was that an appropriate use of that statute? And this particular statute, 1512C2, was part of the Sarbanes-Oxley Act, which was this massive piece of financial industry regulation. And the intent of that statute was to criminalize things like document shredding. You know that Congress is about to subpoena you, so you shred all your documents, you make evidence unavailable. That's what they were trying to criminalize. So DOJ used this vastly overbroad definition of what constituted obstruction of a government proceeding under this statute and charged, a ton of these January 6ers with this very serious felony count. The Supreme Court said on Friday that their construction of the statute is wrong, that they cannot use it in a large number of these January 6 cases, that it was an inappropriate interpretation of that statute. That's going to lead to a ton more litigation in a lot of these January 6 cases. It's also relevant to President Trump because two of the charges pending against him in D.C. are these 1512C2 charges. So even without immunity, as of Friday, we thought we had a very good chance to get half of the case in D.C. against President Trump dismissed altogether. And now with immunity, that case in D.C., even without everything else, it's on life support. It may even be in hospice care.
Man, Will Sharf speaking with us right now. All of these Supreme Court rulings that came down, everybody was waiting on immunity. And if the ruling came out and it wasn't immunity, we're like, okay, we'll see who's happy and who's sad. But let's get to the immunity. Another huge one. We've talked about it a little bit on our show, but not with Will. Go ahead, Ryan.
Yeah, the Chevron case.
Yeah.
That was a big one. A lot of people mentioning it and saying, even in our chat today, saying that one actually might be the biggest of any ones that happened last week.
Yeah, so several decades ago, this goes back to the 1980s, the Supreme Court adopted a doctrine called Chevron deference. What Chevron deference is, I'm going to go to sort of first-year law school type stuff here. What Chevron deference is the idea that when a federal agency interprets its own statutes, that the court should defer to the agency in most cases. So if the EPA is interpreting how to apply the Clean Water Act, the court will defer to the EPA's interpretation of how that statute is supposed to work. When you think about the administrative state, when you think about the modern federal bureaucracy, nothing has empowered the overreach of the federal government more than this doctrine of Chevron deference. It's been a goal of the conservative legal movement for decades now to get Chevron overturned because it's just totally violative of the constitutional system of checks and balances, of separate and co-equal branches of government. And finally, the court overturned Chevron deference last week in a series of cases actually relating to fishermen, of all people. And it's really exciting stuff. I'll say personally, speaking as hopefully your next attorney general, this is going to open up broad areas of potential challenges to federal agencies and departments in the future where we previously had much less ground to challenge their agency actions. So what you're about to see is an opening of the floodgates for people to take the federal government on head on and hold them accountable for all of the illegal overreach, all of the illegal stuff that they've been doing for years.
So, Will Sharf speaking with us right now. We only have a couple more minutes with you. I mean, just a massive stacking of victories for the Constitution first and foremost, which is where I will then say conservatives because we happen to love and adhere to the Constitution. There is a lot of winning taking place right now, but should Donald Trump not win in November, I don't know how much of this will be all for naught. Do you feel like the president is consumed by these legal challenges? How is he juggling trying to win an election with all of the obstacles placed in front of him?
I mean, guys, he's out doing rallies every day. I mean, even when he was on trial, he was out doing these rallies. I think the American people just understand how bad Joe Biden has been for this country, and they're ready for a change. They're ready to go back to the way things were under President Trump when we had a thriving economy. There weren't all these foreign wars. The border was secure. I mean, I think Trump is crushing it on the campaign trail, and I think the debate is a great example of that. I mean, everybody said that the debate was rigged against Trump, that CNN was rigging it against him. I think that's true, and Trump still crushed Biden. I mean, it wasn't even close. The American people saw what kind of leadership they have in the White House now, and they saw how wanting and lacking it is. So I think Trump is crushing it. I think he's our next president. I think he's going to win in a landslide. And I'm just really excited to get to November.
Legally, how easy is it for the Democrats to say, Joe, you've done your job. We got to get a different person in here?
Almost impossible.
Really?
Very difficult to remove a presidential candidate. We're so late in the cycle now.
He's not the nominee yet.
He's not the nominee yet, but we're so late in the cycle now that actually to pull him off the ballot and put someone else up would create a lot of logistical challenges, particularly in some swing states like Wisconsin. Once we get to the convention, they could conceivably open the convention. That would be chaos. If they go past the convention, DNC committee people, if Biden were to step back, could potentially choose a candidate. That's so late in the game that it's just tough to see happening. Basically, they need to convince Biden, not the American people, not Democrat voters. They need to convince Biden to pull himself out. Well, and that's the thing. Joe's been huddled with his family all week. He's up at Camp David with Hunter and Jill, and they're telling him, go for broke. You're the man. You're the best ever.
The two people who have the most to gain by using Joe Biden as the president.
I mean, Jill Biden, it's elder abuse what she's doing. It's just terrible. But no, unless Joe Biden, wakes up in the next couple of weeks and decides that he's done, they don't have a way to pull him out, and there's no way to compel him to leave. And then even if they did, they have the Kamala problem because she's even less popular than he is. Mm-hmm. So they made their stupid choice in 2020. I think they're stuck with it now, and I think we're going to crush them in November.
Which stupid choice? There's a list. To quote RSG on our YouTube Live, the DNC in Chicago is going to be a riot. Anyway.
Literally.
Will Sharf, we appreciate you so much. Anytime you have time, we have time for you. Everybody always raves about having you in here. Keep on keeping on.
Love to be with you guys. Thanks so much.
So much winning. Will Sharf, Trump attorney, candidate for Missouri Attorney General, and friend of the Annie Fry Show. Let's take a quick break, and we'll get right back to it in just a few minutes. Don't go away.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Find the podcast, on-demand audio, and more at 971talk.com/Annie.
Michael's Flooring Outlet. They're online right now at igotfloored.com. You can go shop right there and pick out something you really like. I'm looking at the website right now, and man, some of this flooring that they have in there right now, I'm thinking I should put that in my house. If you are looking for a great deal, if you are looking for quality that you don't have to sacrifice for price, you got to start at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They've got 3 locations for you to shop at. You can visit them across the St. Louis area, but you can start that process at igotfloored.com. You can request an estimate directly from the website so you can kind of get an idea of the investment you might be making for your home or even for your commercial place of business. They have the Mohawk Smart Strand carpeting line, the Techwood Plus flooring that you can shop there. And if you go to products, it lists everything that they have, and you can see the different finishes, the colors, and everything online at igotfloored.com.
We want everyone to enjoy their 4th of July weekend, so please use a rideshare or a designated driver. A DUI will change your life. Don't drink and drive. From your friends at Odyssey and Underlaw Injury Lawyers.
You've listened to 97.1 FM Talk. You've heard of Doug Voss of Voss Financial and Safe Money Radio, as he has been a staple as the financial expert on the station for many years. You can hear him on Safe Money Radio several times a weekend right here on 97.1 FM Talk. And you can talk to Doug Voss directly. Here's his number. Call Doug at 844-676-SAFE. That is 844-676-7233. Doug Voss is a registered representative. Securities offered through D.H. Hill Securities, LLP. Member FINRA and SIPC.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Dell's wealth cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2024. Save 60%. Code 2024. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
What better way to support your nutrition than
than with the multivitamin that was created right here in St. Louis. Neovite Original Multivitamin was created by St. Louis physician Dr. Abicki to support his own nutrition when he needed it most. Now, Neovite Original Multivitamin is formulated with sensible doses of vitamins, minerals, antioxidants, and Dr. Abicki's proprietary blend to give you nutritional support you won't find anywhere else. Neovite is now conveniently available through our no-obligation monthly subscription. Cancel or pause at any time, and shipping is free. Support your nutrition with a subscription to Neovite at neovite.com today.
Before you sell your home, consider your options. Mark Cox here, and for years now I've been telling you about St. Louis real estate expert Gloria Liu, owner of Your Home Sold Guaranteed Realty. Gloria is an expert in selling homes for the most money because she has the guarantees, the buyers, and different solutions for every type of seller. She recently provided a family multiple cash offers in minutes so they could move quickly with no showings, no costly repairs, and no hassles. Now, not everyone's looking for multiple cash offers. That's why Gloria will sell your home at your agreed upon price, or she'll buy it. Her name says it all, Your Home Sold Guaranteed. Regardless of whether you're looking for multiple cash offers or you want to utilize her Guaranteed Sold program to ensure you get the most money possible. Here's your next step. Call Gloria at 314-325-6888 or visit GloriaHasTheBuyers.com. That's GloriaHasTheBuyers.com.
Conditions apply. Gloria and seller must agree on price and possession date.
St. Louis bi-state summers are hot, humid, and can be deadly. Heat can even fry an egg on a sidewalk. For many seniors and the disabled, income goes to rent, medicine, and groceries, often with nothing left to pay utility bills. Please help seniors keep the air on, and let's check on neighbors. CoolDownSt.Louis.org can also help Missouri and Illinois qualified neighbors with utility bills. Get help, give help at CoolDownSt.Louis.org.
Think about this. Do you know anyone who was shocked by Joe Biden's debate performance? Yes or no? That is the subject of
I
today's.
wonder if Joe Biden will see this poll.
Well, he won't know.
He'd be shocked.
Depends on what time it comes across his desk.
Although he can read. Put this on a teleprompter. Do you know anyone who was shocked by Joe Biden's debate performance? End of quote.
Come on, Jack. Not a joke.
Yes or no? That's today's YouTube live chat poll. 145. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Who are you voting for in the Missouri governor's primary? Join me, Annie Fry, for the Republican Governors Forum on July 11th. Register for this free event presented by the Republican Central Committee of St. Louis County at 971talk.com/events.
I know you want to leave me, but I refuse to let you go.
You're listening to The Annie Fry Show on St. Louis's home for conservative talk. Follow Annie on Instagram at The Annie Fry Show.
I'm pretty sure my direct message to Brad was at maybe Sunday or Monday. Usually I'm like, hey, let's get Dr. Siegel on the show. And he's like, okay, I'll work on it. And I think my message to him was, beg Scharf to come in the studio ASAP.
Heck yeah.
And he did.
Well, it's so nice being able to just ask those questions of Will. He's so close to everything. And these are major cases. The country's talking about him. Having him here is just great.
Well, not only is he so close to it, he's so excited about it too, which he brings that energy in whenever he comes in to talk to us, and I love it.
Have you ever won consecutively? Just like, have you ever had a win after win after win in the context that this legal team is having to Donald Trump? I mean, that's a magnitude that we don't really understand, but when you stack wins like they're stacking right now, you got to keep your feet on the ground, but you got to try to keep your feet on the ground.
Yeah, it's pretty good. There aren't too many times in life where that happens, and when they do, you remember them because it's that rare that things, and that's personal to him, of course. I mean, this affects the whole country, but I'm even thinking about things that affect me personally.
Yeah.
Just things that go your way for a few months in a row, and you're like, God, let's just stay right here.
All I can do, this is the type of person I am, all I can do is think about how bad it's going to crash.
I hate that. It's true. Everybody does that.
Do you do that?
Yeah, I do.
You do?
I do, but I try to believe that put that aside. Like, just enjoy this. You know it won't last forever, so just enjoy it. It's hard to do.
I do every now and then, but I don't, like, I'm very fast to be like, maybe, but
so
not.
it creeps.
But not this day.
It creeps in there. as good as people feel right now, if Donald Trump loses in
we're
November,
gonna feel bad.
it's not like this won't really. I mean, does it matter? It matters. The Supreme Court matters.
Definitely.
But it's just there's so much work to do still.
There is. I mean, the things we were talking about just now, the Chevron doctrine being overturned, I mean, that's stuff that even if Trump were to lose, states, attorney generals could be bringing a lot. That is like the big picture stuff. Annie, you played some clips during those last couple segments with Will Sharf, though, that I think half of them, the first one was from Joe Biden. It's like they're conceding that Trump is going to be president in November.
Here's the thing, though. Every time they're like, Donald Trump can kill his political enemies. How many times is I'm not being incredibly facetious here, but the left often tells us the things that they're going to do themselves.
Yeah.
And I just want to be like, are you going to test this theory? Because when you listen to them say that Donald Trump can take out his political opponents now, Donald Trump is a citizen. He's a civilian. He is a former president of the United States, a twice impeached, convicted felon, former president of the United States, but the man who actually does have the immunity that they're arguing that Donald Trump would have and how dangerous it would be should Donald Trump win in November and be inaugurated in January, all of that power, if they really believe what they're saying, and they don't, all of that power rests in the hands of Joe Biden right now. And the powers that be that control him, Joe Biden, and at all.
Yeah, it's weird listening to Joe Biden talk about that because even if he was with full mental capacity, he's in a weird spot because he has to project that he's not going to be president to make you afraid enough to vote for him currently, as he has the powers he's telling you the next guy would abuse. I mean, it's a weird message for him to have to convey.
Yeah, but do you think he's thinking that far down the road, or anybody in their White House is thinking about that in the
I think that's
messaging?
all they're thinking about.
I think they're thinking about winning the White House, and that's all they can do is draw up fear, but they don't think of the ramifications of what it is they're actually saying.
They don't have the luxury to care. They peddle a fear. That is the currency of the left. The only thing that matters is that you are too afraid of Donald Trump becoming the president again. None of it has to make sense. This goes to the YouTube live chat poll for today. Do you know anybody who was shocked by Joe Biden's debate performance? Yes or no? Mark on YouTube says, my niece was surprised by the debate performance. She's 22 and a TikToker. Think about that. Think about the people who, for the first time on Thursday, went, this is the guy who's running our country right now? There are people who were shocked by it. They're probably people who are too young to be invested or too busy and too bothered to care because they're emotionally driven. And these are the people that, I mean, if you're talking about, listen, when someone says low information voter, which is a Rushism, it's an important thing to understand because low information voter doesn't imply stupid. It more implies ignorant, and those are different things. The idea that you're ignorant to something what that means is that you don't have the acquired information needed to make an educated decision or form an educated opinion on it because you do not have the information necessary, maybe by choice, but you're not making informed decisions and opinions when you're ignorant. When you're stupid, you're incapable. We have a lot of low information voters. These are people who are currently ignorant who could become informed and make smarter decisions. And the focus of the progressive left, the success of the progressive left has been to go after low information voters. People who don't have enough context to go, you're nuts if you think I'm going to believe what you're peddling towards me. And the less information you have, the more susceptible you are to fear. If you're somebody who's a planner, if you're an analytical person, if you're somebody who, I don't necessarily think I have anxiety as much as I have a propensity to overthink things almost as a sport. Not necessarily there are times where it can get a grip of me, and it's usually when it's like kids or something that is so personal to me. But all I do in my spare time is try to find my blind spots and think on them so that my blind spots are no longer blind spots. Because if you get a sucker punch out of the blue, you don't see it coming, it lands you on your butt, you got to figure out how to make sure that doesn't happen again. You got to study it. You've got to make the blind spot be no longer blind. That doesn't mean that the next time the punch comes at you, it's not going to land, but it's not going to catch you off guard. All the left is doing is relying on people to get the sucker punch to land. They just want to make sure that you understand how scary Donald Trump is as a potential president come November. That it's just a scary thing. He's a very bad man. And if you start to study it, I mean, how many people do you hear support Donald Trump and then they learn more about him and they're like, I just can't? Versus the converse, which is people default are disgusted by him, afraid of him, think he's the worst person ever. And the more they learn, it's the other way. It goes to the converse where they go, he didn't really say the fine people thing. That's not at all what he said. He actually condemned the bad guys in that situation. He actually helps people quietly all the time behind the scenes. He's a pretty generous guy. He pays attention to people when they're talking to him. He listens to them, and he treats them like dignified human beings. That's pretty cool. I think that the more information people have, the less likely they are to think that he's evil and scary. That doesn't mean you come around to his policies. Maybe you have a different perspective on something that causes you to think politically different. The left is just, their currency is fear, and they've been pretty good at it. They cannot do it if they don't have the media behind them.
Yeah, and I really wish this was a referendum on policy. I think in some sense, the engaged voter, or even mildly engaged voter, is voting on policy. You know, we see polls about the border, about crime, about the economy. That's policy stuff. But when you threw up that comment a second ago about my niece is 22 and she's a TikToker and she was surprised, it's that stuff that
matters.
Is now breaking through.
Yeah.
Because the policy stuff is what it is. It's these performance pieces, it's video clips that the low information voter is now being exposed to, that they are waking up to that.
You know, it's interesting. You said the left's currency is fear, and they need the media to do that. And one of the things that is really different in this election cycle than in a lot of the past ones is the difference on X, on Twitter.
Yeah.
Because
the accountability.
Yes, because the media says something or somebody says something on X or on Twitter, they're immediately jumped on by community notes. That's not accurate. Here's what the truth is. And in Joe Biden's first campaign, he had the luxury of his campaign having stuff that was on
the laptop.
Yeah, the laptop. Twitter shut it down.
Yeah. I think that's a great point. Having one entity out there that does not keep truth from being a part of the discussion. X isn't out there choosing what is true.
Mm-mm.
They're leaving it to you, and look what it's doing. It's holding people accountable. I want to read a few more of these replies before we take a break here. Do you know anyone who was shocked by Joe Biden's debate performance? Fred commented, I was shocked because of how bad he actually was.
That's fair.
I appreciate that. Amy said, I voted yes. I'm a Republican. I know Biden isn't the best condition, but I didn't expect the debate to be, all caps, that bad. It was just plain sad to see Biden in that condition. And Gary says, I answered no, but I was surprised that CNN zoomed in on Biden's face so often. Wouldn't that have been the funniest thing, that every time Biden had to answer a question, it was like the long panoramic view of like...
Go to a full wide of the stage.
Not of the stage, because then you'd be showing Donald Trump. Like, just the in-between of Joe Biden and Donald Trump, and then everything even off stage to the right. And there's Leslie Nielsen going, nothing to see here. Please disperse.
You've got Jill Biden over on the side like, the answer is...
One of those, well, who is that reporter? This is a mostly peaceful debate. Yeah, mostly salient president, CNN. All right, Colin Rumpsa is going to join us when we come back. Candidate for Jefferson County Sheriff. Our friend Colin, next.
Hi, I'm Bob Kershaw with Retirement Advisory Group. Are you worried about market volatility in this election year? Are you concerned your money won't last you through retirement?
Hi, I'm Tammy Kershaw, and as a family-owned business, we are committed to protecting your retirement, whether you're nearing retirement or already retired. We have a lot of folks that aren't aware of all the new investment choices that are available, which give you growth and protection from losses at the same time. Are you aware of all the fees that you are currently paying? We can show you how to avoid those fees. So come in now for your free retirement review and get a second opinion on your retirement plan. And just for coming in, you'll get a copy of our latest edition book, Your Key to a Worry-Free Retirement. Let us show you how to retire with confidence.
We are proud to say we haven't lost a penny of our clients' money in 38 years, and we won't lose a penny of yours either. Let our family help your family. Call us now at 314-993-9494 or go online to retirementkey.com. That's retirementkey.com.
Febreze. As a rideshare driver, I love keeping my car smelling fresh and clean. So when I'm driving, I only trust new Febreze car vent clips, now with 3 times greater scent control, because it's that little touch that sets me apart. I can turn the intensity down for subtle freshness, or I can turn it up for when I want lots of scent. So whether it's set to low, medium, or high, with new Febreze car, I know my car's going to smell amazing, which keeps my driver rating right where it belongs. Picking up Oscar!
A violent crime is committed every 24 seconds. The U.S. Concealed Carry Association exists to provide you with firearms education, training, and access to self-defense liability insurance. So when trouble comes, you'll be ready. Over 800,000 Americans trust the USCCA, and right now, there's an exclusive, limited-time offer for radio listeners. Go to defendfamily.com to get a free family defense guide, a survival secrets training video from a retired FBI agent, and see all the benefits of membership. Go to defendfamily.com now.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The president digs in on Lisa Brady, Fox News. So far, he's offered reassurance on the campaign trail after last week's debate performance. So now President Biden plans to hold a meeting with Democratic governors tomorrow and be interviewed on Friday by ABC, which is scheduled to host the second debate in September.
The president and the president's team have always liked to tune out the pundits, but elected Democrats are a different story. So it's pretty notable that this morning there were reports that top Democratic leaders like Chuck Schumer and Nancy Pelosi still had not had a chance to speak with the president, and elected leaders that Biden wants to keep close to him are starting to break.
Fox's Jackie Heinrich at the White House. Today, Texas Congressman Lloyd Doggett becoming the first sitting Democratic lawmaker to publicly call for President Biden to withdraw from the race. White House spokeswoman Karine Jean-Pierre just telling reporters
the president had a cold. He had a hoarse voice. You all heard it. That's why you reached out. But I will say this, and the president said this over the past couple of days, certainly right after the debate. He knows how to do the job. And he knows how to do the job, not because he says it, because his record proves it.
Though Jean-Pierre also says they understand concerns about the president's debate showing. President Biden has a campaign event later today in Virginia after an earlier event on extreme weather, getting a briefing at the D.C. Emergency Operations Center.
Summer has just started. Already, tens of millions of Americans are under heat warnings from record-shattering temperatures.
The president says heat-related deaths are the #1 weather killer in the U.S. He's announcing a proposed Labor Department rule to establish a federal heat safety standard in the workplace.
Fox's Jared Halpern at the White House. Meantime, just getting word that former President Trump's sentencing set for next week in his New York hush money case is now postponed until September, the judge granting requests to file motions as the former president seeks to have those convictions overturned. America is listening to Fox News.
When life spells heartburn, how do you spell relief? ROLAIDS.
What about when life spells fried chicken?
ROLAIDS.
Fourth cup of coffee?
Still ROLAIDS.
Extra cheesy pizza?
Rolaids always spells relief. Rolaids' powerful dual-active formula begins neutralizing acid on contact to fight your heartburn fast. So, when life spells heartburn, Rolaids spells relief. Use as directed. Keep out of reach of children.
Did you know you can get your prescriptions for less at your local pharmacy? You can with GoodRx. It's the free app that can save you money on your medications. Just search for your prescription, choose the pharmacy and the price that works best for you, and then show your GoodRx coupon to your pharmacist at the drop-off counter. GoodRx works at over 70,000 pharmacies, including Walmart, Rite Aid, and Walgreens, and it works whether you have insurance or not. It's easy to save. Next time you drop off your prescription, check GoodRx. To start saving today, go to GoodRx.com. GoodRx is not insurance.
Air Comfort Service, heating, cooling, and insulation, weather.
Summertime in St. Louis is back. Sunshine. It's moderate humidity going through the afternoon. 94 degrees for the high. Tonight, partly cloudy skies. Maybe a spot thunderstorm after midnight. 76. Wednesday, partly sunny, hot and humid with scattered showers and thunderstorms around. Some could be on the strong side. 94 is going to feel hotter than that, though, on Wednesday with the humidity. This is 97.1 FM Talk. Chief Meteorologist Dave Murray.
As the air moves through your house, you need to make sure that the push of the air from wherever that AC unit is into all the different nooks and crannies of your home is equalized. And Air Comfort Service can help you with that. So we have bedrooms on the second floor of our house. And when that air was moving through our house before we had an Air Comfort Service AeroSeal duct sealing, the basement, super, super cold. And the upstairs, it seemed like it never would really quite get there, even though we had the air running super cold. That costs a lot of extra money in energy, heating and cooling. When you have an AeroSeal duct sealing taking place in your home, what ends up happening is you get to have all of those nooks and crannies, those spaces between the ductwork in your house that's leaking that paid for cooled and heated energy. You seal it up. So then what ends up happening is you can disperse that air throughout your home in a much more even basis. Have Air Comfort Service come in and help you with that. 314-513-0091. 314-513-0091. Tell them Annie sent you online at aircomfortservice.com.
Is your old garage door a real clunker? Overhead Door Company of St. Louis is paying cash for your clunkers now. They'll haul away your old garage door and give you instant credit towards the new insulated door. $200 for the first garage door and $100 for each additional door. Cash in your old opener, too. It's cash for clunkers now at Overhead Door Company of St. Louis. Convenient, free in-home estimates. Schedule online at overheaddoorsstlouis.com or call 314-781-5200.
We all hear the radio ads about the IRS. They tell you to be afraid, to be scared, and they try to frighten you into calling. I'm not here to do that. Tax Relief Advocates is different. TRA is here to tell you that if you owe money to the IRS, whether it's $5,000, $50,000, or $500,000, we have a solution. It doesn't matter if you're sitting in your car, at work, or with your kids. No matter where you are, call now. 800-699-1059. Don't lose hope. TRA can eliminate or reduce what you owe to the IRS. Generous programs are now available that can give you a fresh start. Our passion is taxes and helping individuals fix their IRS problems. We have over 1,000 5-star reviews on Google and an A+ with the Better Business Bureau. You don't need to be afraid of the IRS any longer. End your tax nightmare today by visiting us online at TRA.com or call 800-699-1059. That's 800-699-1059. Tax Relief Advocates. Real solutions for real people.
Don't let a cold, sinus infection, or allergies ruin your day. Breathe easier, sleep better, and feel healthier with Navage. Visit Navage.com, Walmart, Walgreens, CVS, or a store near you.
Who are you voting for in the Missouri governor's primary? Join me, Annie Fry, for the Republican Governors Forum on July 11th. Register for this free event presented by the Republican Central Committee of St. Louis County at 971talk.com/events.
That is exactly what I needed to hear.
Thank God someone here knows what you're talking about.
That's us. That's right. Gotta love this American ride.
All right, you need to take the time and get the full picture.
Come on, turn the radio on. It's Saturday and I won't be long.
Don't get me wrong. I love the ladies. I mean, they rev my engine, but they don't belong in the newsroom. It is Anchor Man, not Anchor Lady.
What do you want from me? I'm not America's sweetheart.
Goodness sake, kid. Keep your voice down. Your father's listening to the radio.
I'm not America's sweetheart.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Thanks for being with us this afternoon. A little more bearable out there this afternoon, and we are going to bolt out of here as soon as the show gets over because I'm going to. Brad's coming right away. Ryan's got to finish up a couple things, but you are going to make it, correct?
Oh, yeah.
To Jerry's Cafeteria in Granite City, and this is something that is just kind of developed. It's not like an official thing. We have heard about Jerry's Cafeteria. They were struggling. I talked to John, the owner, off the air, and then we had him on the air on Friday. And he was talking about how inflation has really kicked business in the butt, and also the circumstances the economy around Granite City has as well. There's a lot of revitalization going on in Granite City. A lot of you sent me this video of John Roderick's, who's the owner there, and said they could use some help. And I said, well, we got people who could help. So would you come? We would love to see you. 3:30 to 5 p.m. is when I will be there. Then I got to bolt because I got a kiddo's baseball game. And we'd just love to see you. So Jerry's Cafeteria in Granite City. Going to leave here from the studio, go straight there. And I would love to see the community come out and support Jerry's Cafeteria and get some great food while you're there. You'll be glad you did. We had some of it Friday, and it was amazing. So staying local, at least now, moving from Granite City across to the Missouri side of the river. We've got Colin Rumpsa in studio with us. He's a candidate for Jefferson County Sheriff, but he also does security here with us. So we know Colin very well, and we're excited to have him in the studio with us. Colin, thanks for coming in.
Oh, Annie, thank you for having me.
Is there, Ryan, if you were a man in distress,
Let's just say a damsel in distress.
I wanted to say it in the most loving way. So
let's say I was a man tied to railroad tracks.
Let's say you were a manzel in distress.
Okay, manzel in distress.
Colin, he's the guy you want showing up to take care of business, right?
Yes.
Without a doubt.
Yeah. I'm like, oh, there's Colin. I'll be fine in about 2 seconds.
I feel safer now.
I'll be off of these train tracks.
So, Colin, you're running for sheriff in Jefferson County. You have served 4 years in the Army, 20-plus years with the STLMPD as a sergeant. You've been in Jefferson County for around 5 years as a corporal. And now you're getting into the politics of it, and you're running for sheriff.
Yes. Call me crazy, Annie. I'm not a politician, never wanted to be a politician, but I tell you, I've seen things that I didn't agree with. And my dad always said, hey, you can't complain unless you have a solution.
Yeah.
Everybody can complain, but who has solutions? And I think I have some pretty good solutions to the problems that Jefferson County's facing.
So I think that law and order is definitely an issue that Americans all across the country are facing right now, and they want people to be in charge who are going to make their communities feel safe. And so, first and foremost, thank you for serving in the Army and deciding to wear the badge, because anybody who's willing to do that is automatically okay in my book by default. What is it that makes you look at Jefferson County, take the whole St. Louis bi-state region right now, we'll take it specifically to Jefferson County. What is it that's making you say we can do better?
I believe that the citizens deserve better. In 2017, they decided they were going to tax themselves more money and pass Prop P. It added more property taxes onto them, and they did it overwhelmingly. And at the time, the sheriff said, oh, that's the end-all, beat-all, we'll be good. Well, that's not the case anymore. He's asking for more taxes next year, a wayfare tax and another sales tax. Everything I say, Annie, I can back up, either with documentation or just people backing up my story. You know, he said this in a supervisor's meeting. He wasn't going to do it this year because it's an election year. But I tell you, he's spending money like crazy, which is I just can't stand it. I don't think he's doing right by the citizens. Here, for instance, he's using $3 million that he saved over the last 3 years. And that $3 million was slotted for deputies on the road. That's at least 10 deputies that he should have had out on the road. But he's decided not to have them out there. He wanted to save it so he could build a building that they don't need. It's a police department. We have perfectly good police department over off of Windsor School campus. And the good thing about that, it offers extra protection for those kids, security for those kids. And the funny thing about it is he's building this. He's putting $3 million in to build it, and then he's going to pay rent on it. And I'm thinking, well, what kind of sense does that make? That don't make any sense.
Yeah.
And it's just things like that.
Tell me about manpower right now, because I've heard that, depending on where you go, recruiting can be very difficult, being able to retain people to serve.
Yes.
I think that 4.5 years ago or so, police officers took such a blow morale in this country, and it's such a shame. I don't know how much we've come back from that, but What's it like to hire police officers right now and keep good ones?
I'm glad you asked that because it's a revolving door down there. Jefferson County was a place to be. Now they say it's a place to flee. He's had over 40, almost 50 officers leave in the last 2 years. Supposed to have 180. He's nowhere near that. I don't think his roles have ever been full since I've been there, and that was 2017. Even after we had the raise, after the raise.
How would you attract the best and the brightest to fill out those roles?
I would let them know that I have their back. I have them 110%. I look at places like St. Anne, where I'm right now. I'm a reserve police officer. I love it up there, and I'll tell you why. The chief has his guys back. The citizens love their police up there because of community policing, okay? That's something I'm very big into. I want my deputies out there talking to the public.
Tell me about community policing, because I've heard that phrase before. It's kind of an industry phrase. What does that mean, like, for a civilian when people talk about community policing? That means,
here, Annie, if you see something going on and you ask a police officer, this just happened not too long ago. I was told by a citizen, 3 deputies pulled over some gal in their 3 cars, 3 deputies. They put the gal in handcuffs. Later, that that citizen, seen the officers at an eating spot, and he went up. He said, "Hey, what happened over there?" "Oh, it was a traffic stop." You're missing a huge opportunity as a policeman. What you should do is say, "Well, here's what we had. Here's why it took 3 of us." Because he was asking me, "Why does it take 3?" I said, "I don't know." But just communicating with the public.
Yeah.
Just being kind.
Building relationships?
Building relationships. Absolutely. I'm huge into that.
Yeah. Colin sits as part of the security here at the radio station. He sits at the front desk. And there was a day, I don't know, it was like 3 or 4 weeks ago, where I was like, "Hey, Colin, come look at this."
Yes.
And we were looking out from the parking garage out over by the St. Louis Public Library. This guy must have been strung out on something. I don't know.
Yeah.
But he was being violent.
To the air, he was.
Yes.
He was beating everything's butt that was anywhere near him, but it was all air. But yeah, he was a nuisance.
I know you're running for sheriff in Jefferson County, but when you exist here professionally in St. Louis, in the city, what do you think about what you see on a daily basis and how it's being handled?
I don't like it. I don't like it at all. Here's a big difference, Annie, between Jefferson County and St. Louis City. And this is not to say all the citizens of St. Louis are bad. There's some very good people out there. But in Jefferson County, the citizens have our backs. And I'm sorry, that's a commodity that you should be taking advantage of. And like I said, when I was out there about 4:30 in the morning, you'd find me at the local gas stop talking to the older guys, finding out what's going on. They would ask me, "Hey, I seen a bunch of lights. What happened?" I'd tell them. I've learned a lot from those guys about what was going on in the area that I patrolled. So it's just not the same up here. Up here you have, it seems like the citizens are against you. Not all of them are, but they're very quiet, the ones that are not against you. The politicians, of course, are. And I don't know about this new police chief, but when I was up here, the commanders were against us. They were, every time you turn around, you had to look to see if you had another knife in your back or not.
Yeah.
And I won't be that guy. Yeah. I'm going to be the guy that supports his people and lets them do their job. I'd rather have guys I got to hold back than push forward.
Yeah.
And I know a lot of these guys out in Jefferson County. They're great officers. They do a phenomenal job. They're very professional. And they want to do a good job, but they're being held back. The micromanaging is terrible. They have to ask their sergeant. The sergeant says, "Well, let me check with the lieutenant." Lieutenant says, "Well, let me check with the captain." "Well, let me check with the major." Because if it's not exactly the way the major wants it, you're going to hear about it. Now, Annie, we give these people at least 6 months of training in firearms, laws, juvenile procedures, all this training. We give them a badge. It allows us to take away their freedom,
Yeah.
let them do their jobs. You know, if we trust them with a gun, a badge, and a car, we should trust them to do their jobs.
Yeah.
And it's just not happening.
We're speaking with Colin Rumpsa, and Colin is a friend of ours here at the radio station as he provides security for us here, and we always feel very safe when he is present. He's also running for Jefferson County Sheriff. And, you know, I think that I'm not super invested in this race personally. I'm not in Jefferson County or in Missouri, but I mean, Brad and Ryan can both attest to how great of a guy and presence that Colin has been here. But I think, Colin, that the number one thing people want from their police department is to feel like the police department is serving the people in the community. And not that the police department is the babysitter or, you know, the authority that constantly is out to keep you inside the lines and always just waiting for you to toe one foot out of the line.
No, I want people that are going to say, you know what, that's my sheriff.
Yeah.
You know, that's my deputy out there doing, you know, protecting me. When I was in the city, we had a long time ago, as I was in the academy, we had an officer, Steve Kapkovic, great officer. And I knew when I went to bed at night, I felt safe because I knew Steve was out there doing his job because he was that good of an officer. That's what I want for the people of Jefferson County. I want them to know that we're out there doing our jobs.
Yeah. I think mending the relationship, there's been a process in it. And unfortunately, a lot of what came out of the riots and the anti-blue sentiment that came out of the summer of 2020, that a lot of these areas, St. Louis is definitely one that's included, have suffered because of crime. We diminished and demeaned police officers and crime. And, you know, like we turned upside down who the victims are.
Right.
In any,
right.
like, who's
Yes.
the victim here?
Yeah.
We got to protect the criminals because they're the victims because of Lord knows what. I mean, we just kind of live in an upside down world. I feel like, unfortunately, it's had to get really bad in order for it to get right again.
I agree with you.
But I feel like we're headed in that direction.
You know, that pendulum swings both ways. You know, after Rodney King, it was bad for police, and then 9/11 happened. God forbid that terrible day, but then all of a sudden, the police and fire, they were all being looked at as heroes. You know, we were the first responders. Everybody says, you know, we got the Army. Well, guess what? If a bunch of Russians airborne into St. Louis, the first people that's going to face them are the police.
Yeah.
You know, so we are the first responders to things like that. So after 9/11, it started coming back our way. Then we had Michael Brown. 2014, never forget it.
Yeah.
Ferguson, it's just awful.
Yeah.
You know, and all of a sudden, here, the classic example, we had politicians against us. If you remember that, they were going on there saying, oh, their uniforms and their equipment's too militaristic. Well, I don't think that matters to a gal who's being, you know, raped by 2 or 3 guys.
Yeah.
What somebody looks like that comes and saves them.
Amen.
You know, so it was just awful. But I think it's coming back the other way again. That's what I appreciate. I think that as the leader, you have to make a conscious effort to make relationships, partnership with people, and let them know what you're going to do. You know, be a problem solver, because basically that's what policemen are. They're problem solvers.
Yeah. And you want to be able to have that relationship. And it goes both ways. It has to be invested in by the community, but also the department.
Right. Right.
Well, Colin is running for candidate for Jefferson County Sheriff. Colin Rumpsa, where do you connect best with people who want to learn more about your candidacy?
My Facebook or my webpage, and it's Rumpsa for Sheriff.
RUMPSA?
Yes.
For sheriff.com.
.com.
All right. Colin, thanks for coming in with us. We always love seeing
Annie,
you.
if I could, can I give a quick shout out to
Uh-huh.
my son Nathan and his girlfriend Madison? They were in a horrible motorcycle accident Saturday night. They're both they're expected to survive, but they got a long road ahead of them. I just want to tell them we love them and stay strong.
Yeah. Colin, you're a good dad, and we will continue to pray for your son. What's his name?
Nathan.
And
Madison, his girlfriend.
and Madison.
Yeah.
Let's pray for Nathan and Madison for quick healing, full recovery. Colin Rumpsa, running for sheriff in Jefferson County. Thank you for being in here with us. We always appreciate it.
No, thank you for having me. I appreciate you guys very much.
You bet. Send those prayers up for Colin's kid and his girlfriend. Let's take a quick break. More Annie Fry Show in a minute.
The front seat's broken and the axle's dragging.
This is the Annie Fry Show.
You can't step to this back.
Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
You know it ain't my fault when I'm walking, jaws dropping like a kick it.
Summer is here, which means pool days, beach trips, and yeah, you guessed it, traffic jams. Oh yeah, and heat waves. Don't let summer catch you by surprise. Get the local news you need, no matter what you're up to, with the free Odyssey app. And never miss a beat with alerts on breaking stories sent directly to your phone. Listen today on the free Odyssey app. That's AUDACY.
More good news for Frederick Roofing, voted best roofing company by the St. Louis Post-Dispatch.
For a hole in your roof or a whole new roof, Frederick Roofing.
314-645-2000.
This is a special alert to all Americans who own a vehicle with less than 200,000 miles with an auto warranty about to expire or with no warranty coverage at all. Due to a decline in the economy, CarShield is announcing a low-cost month-to-month vehicle protection plan that is now available to the public to save any driver out-of-pocket expenses on future auto repairs. Call now to find out how you can pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. Yes, you heard that correctly. Pay almost nothing for covered auto repairs. An open phone line has been established for all drivers to call for a free quick quote. Call 800-652-5241 now. Drivers who are covered will not have to pay for covered repairs again. This protection plan is at an all-time low. Additionally, drivers who activate this vehicle protection today will also receive free roadside assistance, free towing, and car rental options at no additional cost. Call us for your free quick quote today. 800-652-5241. That's 800-652-5241. What do you have to lose? Call 800-652-5241. Again, 800-652-5241.
You're listening to the Annie Fry Show live from the Air Comfort Service Heating, Cooling, and Insulation Studio. 9 out of 10 homes are under-insulated. Keep the air you're paying to heat where it should be with 15% off attic insulation. For a free estimate on attic insulation, visit aircomfortservice.com.
If you use a smart speaker, you can listen to 97.1 easier than ever. Just tell it to play 97.1 FM Talk. Or download the Odyssey app for your phone and stream the station whenever, wherever.
WindowWorld.com. Check them out. Go on the website and shop for your replacement windows. Right there at the website, WindowWorld.com. When you are looking for replacement windows, you don't want to sacrifice having a good, great window installed, but have to pay an arm and a leg for it. Window World understands that. They know that a lot of times the game is a very high pressure situation. It's very like, here's what you're going to do, and there's upselling and so on and so forth, and it's gross. They don't do that at Window World. They're not interested in that. They want to sell you a great window that they believe in, that they'll stand on literally to show you the quality and the strength of that window, but they want to also make sure that it's affordable for you, and they get it. Things are tough right now. They have implemented up to 36 months, same as cash financing with approved credit, to make the job doable for you. Reach out to them at 314-993-1800, 314-993-1800, and talk to them about their windows. They come with a lifetime warranty that covers parts, glass breakage, and labor. These are quality windows that are simply the best for less. 314-993-1800, windowworld.com.
Peace up, A-Town down. Yeah, yeah.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter at Annie Fry Show.
Every time I hear this song, I think of 2003 spring break. Or was it 2004? 2004. And there is a street in West Palm Beach called Clematis Street. And we went to spring break in West Palm Beach. Well, we went to Jupiter, Florida for the Cardinals. And in West Palm Beach, there's this street, and we were going from bar to bar or whatever. And this song was so big that we were in each. I mean, we could not have been in any of these bars longer than 30 minutes. We didn't even know what we were doing. They played the song twice.
Oh, yeah?
In the time we were in the bar. It's like, who wants some more? And they're like, yeah. And then they just did it again.
Yeah, I remember walking through New Orleans in 2011. And it was that original Adele song. I don't remember which one it was now, but it was some
Set
big.
Fire to the Rain?
It was, maybe. I mean, I don't know her songs well enough. But it was literally like every street we went down in French Quarter.
We were doing different things.
Was playing. Well, it was me and my wife.
Here's
so.
Usher. Yeah. And you're like, Adele. She was with us everywhere we went.
Adele in New Orleans, no less.
Yeah, we were in French Quarter. And we weren't on the streets that you weren't supposed to walk into the establishments. I can tell you that. Me and my wife were walking through the French Quarter. But it was just constant.
Rolling in the deep.
Rolling in the deep?
There's a fire starting in my heart.
Oh, gosh, now I got to look up the lyrics because I remember that song.
Finally, I can see you crystal clear.
No, it was close. It was slower than that. It was.
And I said fire to the rain. This would be easier if we played the songs and I didn't have to sing them.
No, but it wasn't that one.
Someone Like You?
Yes, that's it. It was Someone Like You. Because I kept singing it to my wife.
That's so sad.
Yeah, it was.
Talk about a dirge.
Oh, man. It was like, and what's funny is that New Orleans is such a party atmosphere all the time.
You showed up and they're
all
like,
the time.
We should do Adele.
They're like, oh, let's play Adele, Someone Like You everywhere you go while you're eating beignets.
She's pretty spicy. Like on her stage, it's like she like calls people out. She says exactly what she thinks. She had a residency in Las Vegas. She's really made it.
Yeah, I think if there's one person I think she's really made it in music, I think Adele and Taylor Swift. You know, I think those are some
I'd rather see
successful
Adele.
artists. Would you?
Oh gosh, yes.
Really, than Taylor Swift? I think that's got to be a pretty amazing show.
Well, you can go to be there. You can be a Swiftie.
Okay.
I'd 100 out of 100 times prefer to go see Adele.
No kidding.
Yes. Huh. Are you kidding? Have you heard Adele sing? Like, have you ever just heard her sing?
Is it bad?
Oh, my gosh, no.
Oh, that's what I was going to say.
She's like the voice of a generation.
There was she was doing Saturday Night Live.
Good.
And they accidentally ran her clean feed over the air.
Oh, yeah?
And everybody was just shocked. They're like, there's nothing on this, and she sounds amazing.
Huh. Okay, I guess I'll go with you guys to see Adele.
You? If you have a life moment in 2011 that involves Someone Like You and Adele, you're surprised that she can sing. Have you heard her songs?
I mean, I've heard that one.
That's the story.
Several times.
You've heard them.
And anytime we'd go anywhere, I'd say to my wife, I just want you to know, Katie, I wish nothing but the best for you. And I would do it just like that. That was a great trip. It just rained the whole time and it played Adele. That's the only problem. No.
That's the only problem.
That's the only problem. Everything else was a lot of fun.
You want to talk about youth sports some more?
Sure.
Yes.
I kind of started talking about it.
Yeah, you did.
And then I had to stop because Wiggins America was next. And I know how you get.
Yeah, I was like, I don't want to talk about youth sports. I want to talk about what I want to talk about. But now it's your time.
Does your son play select baseball or just rec ball?
He just plays regular baseball.
And I just said, like, rec?
Yeah.
So there's got to be something in between.
Yes. Yeah.
There isn't.
Because he's clearly a little bit above the most of the kids that are playing at that level. But I'm not, like, you're not a select player.
He could be if he wanted to.
Yeah, well, you can find anybody that's going to accept you for select these days.
No, they're going to just cash your check.
Yeah.
Yes. Yeah.
Do you know guys, it is not, boys are not having fun playing baseball.
And that's a shame.
I hate to hear that because I felt like my son was having fun.
He probably is. He's not in the system.
That's correct. It's one of the reasons we're not doing it.
Now he's in the soccer system.
Yes.
Of which I know nothing about. And I bet you that there is a Venn diagram, and I'm not 100% sure how much the circles overlap. I cannot stress enough how many one-on-one conversations I've had with people who are lamenting the grind that is the youth baseball experience, this is what the current state of youth baseball has created. If you are a parent, you need to understand that when your kid can start playing a select level, which is essentially not Little League, not Corey League, not City League. Everything else out of there is somewhere around select or travel ball. What our youth baseball circumstances right now is it tells parents, your kid could be a professional baseball player one day. Hope you make the right choices to make sure they have that opportunity. And it tells kids, you could be a professional baseball player one day. You better make sure you go all the places and do all the things so that you don't blow it. The percentage of youth baseball players who are still playing in their junior year of high school is tiny. The percentage of baseball players, youth baseball players, who go on to play in the pros is a tiny percentage of the tiny percentage that are still playing as juniors in high school. The scenario where youth baseball is competitive, selective, and fun is a good situation to be in. But for a large percentage of people who participate in this system, it's a necessity. It's something you have to. If you want to play ball, this is where the ball is being played. And so you get yourself in the system, and then it is a constant grind in trying to keep up. None of it is focused on the kid. In fact, I bet you that the current system set up around youth baseball, and I would expand this beyond baseball, but I don't know what I'm talking about specifically there. I know very much of what I'm talking about from the baseball experience. I just don't have experience with soccer. We haven't done the club volleyball thing yet. That might be a little bit different. I'm not 100% sure. I think the idea of the toxicity of what youth baseball has become doesn't apply to girls as much because girls don't grow up thinking they're going to go to the pros. They just don't. Is it right? No. Does my daughter this year think more about the potential of being a professional basketball player than she did before Caitlin Clark captured the attention of the world? She probably does. But that's because prior to Caitlin Clark, the time spent thinking about that was literally zero. She now knows that, yeah, you can play basketball professionally, and if you're drafted number 1, you can make less than a 5-year teacher in some states.
Yeah, that's a good point too.
But you could do it. This idea that the concept that your 8-year-old kid has a lot of potential to potentially be drafted someday is psychotic.
Well,
it really is a psychotic thought because you're 8. I mean, we are literally living in a society right now where that 8-year-old could next week tell you, I don't want to be a boy anymore. I want to be a girl. And society's like, high five, let's go.
Don't tell your parents.
Yeah, don't tell your parents, but we'll take care of it. I mean, this is the same time frame where we're arguing about what kids think that they're going to do, what they want to be, where we are collectively the common sense side, which is a bipartisan side, saying they don't know anything. They don't know nothing. And this is the great tragedy of what I'm talking about and why I'm so passionate. Like, I know that there are folks out there going, Annie, what's the big deal? If you don't like it, don't participate in it. My kids, my older 2 that have played competitive athletics are competitive. Brad, you've seen them.
Mm-hmm.
I'm not blowing smoke. I'm not saying that they're the greatest thing that has ever played anything they've ever played, but they work hard. They have talent.
Yeah.
They're going to play in high school.
Oh, yeah, for sure.
What youth sports is doing right now, specifically the baseball culture, it is commoditizing childhood. It is turning the time that a child has to be a kid, monetizing it, putting pressure on parents and children to say, you got to do this. Listen, this is just the cost. You want to be great? No, I want my kid to be 10. No, I want my kid to be a kid, because pretty soon they're not going to be a kid anymore, and life's going to come fast at them, and I'm doing everything I can in my power to make sure they're ready to meet that opportunity once they're confronted with it. But they've squeezed all of the fun out of youth sports for these kids. The amount of stress and pressure on these kids to perform, it is very, very, very hard for a child to perform at a young age the way they are being expected to perform, because there is so much money tied up in this that you're afraid if they don't do it, then they're not going to get to do the next thing and the next thing and the next thing. It's a job. We're giving our 8, 9, 10, 11, 12-year-old kids jobs. And if you do a job that is too high pressure for too long as an adult, you go, I'm out of here. I'm going to find something else. So you invest all of this money and your entire summer on the ball field, on maybe the soccer field, wherever it is, whatever the season is, you invest so much money that most parents who are paying the money don't have. To invest in an idea that if you don't do it, your kid's going to get left behind. Your kid feels all of the pressure from all of this coming down on them that they have to perform because so much time and money has been invested in this, and it's not fun for them anymore. But then you're too invested in it to stop doing it, and it breaks down families, it breaks down relationships, it breaks down friendships. And in the middle of all of this, what does the kid have at the end of it? Anxiety, stress, disassociation from the thing that they once did because they loved. It's not the case for every kid. It's not the case for every family. But the people who I see thriving the most in the current setup the way it is, and I don't know, Ryan, if you've seen this yet with the soccer level that you guys are at, your oldest are 10?
Mm-hmm.
The only people who can really sustain this and handle it emotionally, financially, but most importantly from a family relationship are people who have only kids, one child. Dragging the whole family out to every baseball game, every competition, every event. You're asking the entire family to do a lot. What happens if you have 2 boys playing youth baseball? What happens if you have a girl playing softball and a boy playing baseball, or conflicts? Now parents are going separate ways. Now parents are missing the other kids' things. All of this is time and money sucked away from the family and the summer, where you will run out of summers for these kids to have. When you think about summer, Ryan, your youth summers, what do you think about?
Waiting until, honestly, playing like sports outside with my friends in the neighborhood, though not professional, like not organized sports. And also waiting for each, and this will really date me, Rolling Stone magazine to come, because it would tell me how far along in the summer we were.
Oh, man. That's very specific.
Yeah, because if you got June, or I think they were a month ahead. So if you got August, you knew, okay, we're close to the end of July. I don't know why that was my memory, but it is. And playing outside a lot, though.
Brad, what do you remember from being a kid?
Oh, man. I remember playing in the creek behind the house. I remember, riding with my uncle in their tractors, getting up early some mornings to go hang out with my dad as he went out onto different job sites. I remember waiting to see if the rain was going to cancel my baseball game that week, because I'd have to wait a whole 4 days before I could play another one. I think we played maybe 2 a week, and we just played for the city or town in which we lived. Yeah, my summers were riding bikes, playing in the woods, playing, in the creek, mowing the grass, all that sort of thing. That was my summers.
Your summer, being a kid, your summer includes sports, but it's not the defining thing.
Mm-mm.
Kids these days will spend 5 to 6 days a week doing something that has to do with baseball. Is soccer like that?
No. In fact, soccer, if you play select, pretty much takes the whole summer off.
But forget about summer specifically, but like the commitment. Is it 5-6 days a week?
During the school year, it's more like 3 days a week. 2 practices, 1 game, usually per week.
There are kids who are playing 80, 90, 100 games a year.
Yeah, we are not crossing that bridge.
Ask professional athletes, ask trainers who are involved with professional athletes about the effect of a young growing body doing the same motion over and over and over and over again. I think about Legion Ball a lot, which kind of completely went away and has started to resurge a little bit, which would be great to see. I think that the biggest travesty in all of this is the childhood that's being sacrificed in conjunction with the pressure that's being put on each individual kid. Each kid is a free agent. Their parents are the agent. They shop their kid around. Their kid's going to try out here, there, and everywhere. Kids are getting cut from teams that are trying out kids as subs in season games at the end of the season. And I mean, it's just gut-wrenching to watch all of this go through. And every year you got to, my husband put together a team, and we've had some really great years. We've had some really not great years when it comes to, like, our most successful years. We had 2 really good years on the team that he put together with our friends who had a son that's the same age. And we always prioritized from the jump trying to get good people involved. And some of those years were much better than others. And the successful years were because we had the best people who were involved, who had an understanding of prioritizing the right things. Not a win at all costs because your kid is an 8-year-old who missed a ball at second base. Good grief. Nolan Arenado misses a ball from every once in a while. And if your 8-year-old or 9-year-old or 10-year-old misses that ball, you're going to crush them for it. I mean, you see it. If you go out to the ball field, you see it every single game. When it's almost like the younger the players are, the more the parents can't hold it in. And it's sad because there's so much pressure. Legion Ball, playing for an American Legion in your town, sets a district, sets an area, and it sets a name on the front that you try to play for to honor. Right now, it's all about the name on the back of the jersey. One of your 8 jerseys that you might have for your baseball team. I mean, like, there are kids who are like sub 10, and they have multiple jerseys to showcase for the team. It's good if you can get it. It's like that inherently isn't a problem, but in the context of everything else, like the oven mitt glove thing. My son has one. He has Bruce Bolt batting gloves. These are $75 batting gloves that he asked me for, and I'm like, hell no, I am not buying you those. You are not going to have those. And he got some birthday money. He's like, can I buy these with my money? And I'm like, you can buy them with your money. You lose them, I'm not replacing them. Because I think it's ridiculous. Now, he's 14. You will go see little children with these super expensive batting gloves and oven mitts that they don't slide head first into second. Little boy or girl?
I was at Play It Again Sports. I think this was the day before yesterday. And I was, checking out. And this kid comes up with the bright pink oven mitt to his dad. The kid was probably 6 or 7 years old. And he goes, Dad, can I? He's like, you are not getting an oven mitt. Go put that back.
Good dad. Good dad.
Then he looks at me and we just both kind of chuckle.
Yeah. But I mean, like, listen, this is capitalism. This is commerce. And the only way to shield children from it is for adults to act like adults and not get played in the whole system. I, unfortunately, don't have a solution to the problem in play. But my husband and I are like, what if we just started a whole new league? It's such a problem.
We just constantly ask the question, are we trying to keep up with the Joneses by doing this? Or are we doing it because that's what usually the kid wants?
Is this for the kid or is this for us?
Yeah. And how's it affecting the whole family too? Because even if it is for one of the kids, how's it affecting everybody? And we just kind of keep asking yourself a question in 10 or 15 years. Is this thing that I'm investing my time in going to matter? And if it's yes, but not because they're going to become a pro baseball player, that's okay.
Yeah.
You could have a great experience playing baseball as a kid and having fun. That's kind of what we're looking to balance.
But you got to check yourself.
You always got to be asking that question.
I was speaking with a family that I've known for quite a long time just last night at a different game that my son was playing in, and hadn't seen him in a long time. And my son is playing up on a high school team. And I think their son had maybe just graduated, but he played baseball at a high level and hadn't maybe played in the last season. And she made the comment. She's like, he's playing baseball for fun again. And it was such a melancholy thing to say. Because parents, listen, while you're trying to keep up with the Joneses the entire time, your little boy or little girl is not going to be a little boy or a little girl anymore, and you're going to have missed it. Don't miss it. Let's take a quick break. We'll get the results of the YouTube poll in a second.
This is the Annie Fry Show. Follow Annie on Twitter @AnnieFryShow.
Ruler Foods, rulerfoods.com. Now with delivery, this is so exciting to have those savings delivered directly to your door so that you don't have to make it into the Ruler Foods closest to you to enjoy the savings that Ruler Foods offers you. Shopping at Ruler Foods, they've got the name brands that you love. They also have Kroger brands at Ruler Foods prices. I love to shop at Ruler Foods, fill my cart up and be able to afford it at the end of the shopping trip and trust that I'm getting great low prices on things that I can tell you about, but also sometimes they have prices that are so low I can't even advertise them. If you haven't found the Ruler Foods closest to you yet, give it a shot. Just go into rulerfoods.com and you'll quickly be able to see the different sales that they have going right now. And your ability to set up a delivery for the first time, you can sign up at rulerfoods.com and you can create that delivery order right there on the website. But you can also do a search for the zip code that you're in or that you want to shop in and find the Ruler Foods closest to you so you can give it a walk through yourself. rulerfoods.com.
Surprise!
Surprise!
You know, surprise parties, they can be fun, right? Well, financial surprises, not so much, especially when you're retired, like finding out you owe more in taxes than you thought you would, or having to go back to work to make ends meet. Maybe you think you'll be okay, but why not double check just to be sure? Call Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions and schedule a retirement double check. Marvin and his team have been helping families plan for retirement for more than 15 years. Call 314-373-1598 to schedule your retirement double check with Marvin Mitchell at Compass Retirement Solutions. That's 314-373-1598. Don't let a financial surprise derail your retirement dreams. Give Marvin and the team a call, 314-373-1598. Firm offers insurance services, investments, and services offered through Compass Retirement Group, a registered investment advisory in Missouri and in Illinois.
Is your home, business, or church looking tired, chalky, or in need of curb appeal? Go Rhino. Tired of painting year after year? Go Rhino. Our unique 3M ceramic technology is perfect for brick, stucco, aluminum, steel, color lock masonite, and more. It's backed by our 25-year transferable warranty to not chip, crack, or peel. Great if you're staying, and even better if you're selling. Our ceramic coating allows you to maintain all of your architectural features. The decision to do vinyl will leave your home looking like a plastic moldy box. With Rhino Shield, in 15 years, your home will still have that, wow, it looks like you just got it painted. We've done large condo complexes, parking garages, pole barns, and commercial strip malls. We coat sloped and flat roofs to extend their lives too. Evaluations are free. 877-25-RHINO or 877-25rhino.com. See what we did there? Genius. Tell them, ladies.
Don't paint, don't vinyl, go Rhino Shield. Never paint your house again. Rhino Shield.
These upcoming shows. Cody Jinks, St. Louis Music Park, August 1st. Blue October, Switchfoot and Matt Nathanson, St. Louis Music Park, August 16th. Dierks Bentley, Hollywood Casino Amphitheater, August 22nd. And Billy Joel and Sting, Busch Stadium, September 27th.
For tickets and info, hit up livenation.com.
If you have a problem with the IRS, believe me, it's not going away on its own. The IRS never gives up. They have endless resources, so they control the game. Well, your tax problems can end. I'm attorney Lance Drury with the Drury Law Firm, a local tax resolution firm with an A+ rating from the Better Business Bureau. I've handled thousands of IRS cases over the last 15 years. So when you hire me, you won't be speaking long long distance or sending money to some TV pitch man that's riddled with consumer complaints. Your first visit is completely free and confidential, and I'll tell you on the spot exactly how much it will cost. So call me, Lance Drury, at 314-260-6120. That's 314-260-6120. Or go to Lance, D-R-U-R-Y, law.com. If you have IRS issues, you need a local attorney, you need me, Lance Drury.
The choice of a lawyer is an important decision and should not be based solely upon advertisements.
Just a reminder, if you missed the 1 o'clock hour in this show, Will Sharf, Trump's attorney and candidate for Missouri Attorney General, was in studio for 2 segments talking about all of the Supreme Court stuff that's happened in the last week, the Trump debates, a lot of information. Just if you're a voter and if you're a person who is a high information voter, that is good information to have. So I encourage you to get the podcast. The YouTube live chat poll question of the day: do you know anyone who was shocked by Joe Biden's debate performance? Anxious to see the results of this poll because I really don't know whether this is resonating outside of the political circles. I mean, we all knew it. Did you know anybody who was shocked by Joe Biden's debate performance? Yes or no? YouTube live chat poll of the day. The time right now, 2:53. This time check is sponsored by Jerry Kelly Heating and Air Conditioning.
It's time for a $98 AC tune-up.
Hey, it's Mark Reardon getting ready here on a Tuesday afternoon. Believe it or not, the White House press corps did its job today with KJP. People outside of Peter Doocy asked some tough questions, believe it or not. I know it's a miracle. We'll have the very latest and some audio to share with you coming up after Fox News at 3.
This is the Annie Fry Show. The Annie Fry Show is streaming online. Watch us live on YouTube and subscribe.
Welcome back to the Annie Fry Show. Gosh, I'm thinking about Jerry's Cafeteria right now.
Me too.
What are you going to eat?
Potatoes, mashed potatoes for sure, because those were delicious.
You like those?
They were very buttery, and they were the kind that I like.
What, you could eat all of it? Eat all of it.
Yeah, looking forward to seeing even other things that he did not bring in because
pie.
We'll probably eat some pie. That chocolate pie was really good.
I was going to say, what did you eat?
I had half of Brad's chocolate pie.
Yeah.
I had a whole piece of cherry pie. I had macaroni, mashed potatoes, and the fried chicken actually was really good too.
What'd you eat?
I had a piece of fried chicken. I had the macaroni. I had the potatoes, and then half of my own pie. And it was the chocolate pie.
We'll be at Jerry's Cafeteria. We're going to just bolt out of here as soon as we're done with the show. And I would love to see you. 3:30 to 5. I'm going to just go eat because I've had my 2 Greek yogurts today. That has been the food that I have consumed today, and a Scooter's latte, of course. But we're going to go to Jerry's Cafeteria. Go to jerryscafeteria.com if you want to learn about them. It's in Granite City, and they put out a video that they were struggling. I think, Ryan, there's a lot of people who have the same story that Jerry's Cafeteria has. Inflation is kind of kicking them in the butt. Costs to operate are going up. Maybe consumption is going down a little bit. And we just heard about this, and we thought we could help.
Yeah, that's the thing about grocery prices in general is that if you are in consumables in any way, you've been hit. And so that's why we're all paying more when we go get fast food or we go to the grocery store. That, of course, is then passed down the line. I've heard there was a bakery, and I can't remember exactly where this was, but it was in the Metro East somewhere, that during inflation, this is like 2022, maybe beginning of 23, they said because of the price. You remember the egg thing? Like eggs shot up like crazy.
$8 a dozen or something insane in some places.
They had so much trouble staying open because they were having to adjust their prices so fast that people were coming in week after week going, it's more than it was last week. And that's all just because of raw good prices from inflation.
I think there were supply chain issues too.
That too.
Eggs, there's like a bird flu.
At that moment, yes. Yeah.
It was just really problematic.
Yeah.
So we'll be out there. Jerry's Cafeteria in Granite City, 3:30 to 5. I'd love to meet you. I mean, it's not like a big to-do or anything. We just said, hey, we can do this and maybe bring some business in and come eat.
Yeah, we're just going to go eat. I'll be there by 4. I got to clean up a couple things here, and I'll meet you guys there. But hopefully by 4. You guys will be there 3:30. So
Did you mess some stuff up?
Yeah.
He always does.
When I say clean some stuff up, I made a bit of a mess.
He made a grumpy.
There's a bed out there, and I was like, hey, what did Amber Heard do in that bed?
No! Oh, knock it off. Gross.
Why did they bring a bed in here in the first place, though?
YouTube live chat poll. Do you know anyone who was shocked by Joe Biden's debate performance? Yes or no? You?
I don't. I really don't.
Nobody's come to you and been like, oh my gosh, that was terrible. Like,
No, they all knew this is probably going to be pretty bad. And then it was, although I guess the shock would be how bad.
Joe Biden met that moment.
Yeah. Yeah, because we thought, hey, maybe he is going to be so hopped up and sharp for a night like he was State of the Union. Maybe he'll do okay.
Vicky said, no, I don't know anyone who was shocked by it. Russell says, I voted yes. I knew he was not all there normally, but seeing him like a deer in the headlights shocked me. It turned from bad to very uncomfortable to watch the leader of the free world lost. Did you, Brad, do you say yes or no to this? You know anybody?
No, I don't know anybody.
You?
Yeah, I've had people be like, Annie, holy crap. And I'm like, I know. Don't you listen to my show? No, I never say that to people. But it was very, very shocking to a few people. Most people's comments to me are like, what an S show.
Yeah.
That was pretty much the summation.
Remember when we were worried about the bar being too low?
Do you know anyone who was shocked by Joe Biden's debate performance? Yes or no? Our YouTube poll for today, 78% said no.
Wow.
That's pretty high.
Still, over 20% said yes.
Jerry's Cafeteria in Granite City. Come see us and leave the radio on. Mark Reardon, he's next.
Del Walmsley and the Wealth Cycle.
This is the wealth cycle that I've taught for 30 years. Buy one house, 10 houses, an apartment, 2 apartments, 8, 20, 500 units, 1,000 units, 2,000, 5,000 units. And as you keep putting the money and the profits back in, you become one of those rich people. And much quicker than you'd even believe.
Learn Dell's Wealth Cycle at GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. Use promo code 2024. Save 60%. Code 2024. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com. GiveMeTotalFreedom.com.
Gain peace of mind that your flooring and carpet installation will be done right the first time when you hire the experts at Michael's Flooring Outlet. They give all their clients attentive personal service, even bring toys for the kids of the household. It's a family-owned and operated business for 25-plus years. They make sure you make the right choice for your home. So if you have carpets or hard floors, you're going to be happy for years to come. 3 convenient locations in St. Charles County, 116 Main Street, in Old Town St. Peters at Mid-Rivers and Highway 70, in West County on Olive, and the store in Darden Prairie. Michael's Flooring Outlet, IGotFloor.com.
KFTK FM Florissant. From the Under Law Injury Lawyers, GetJim.com studio.
That's GetJim.com.
97.1 FM Talk. Always live on the free Odyssey app.
The White House calls it a bad night. I'm Lisa Brady, Fox News.